Chapter 16:13. Zhang Ji looked at the two of them nervously. Lin Ge picked up the kitchen knife beside him. Tell the truth. Wasting time like this is getting boring. Yes, to tell the truth. Zhang Ji's face was bitter. As expected of a mahogany order holder. His vigilance was immediately seen through. If he had known this would happen, he would have worn clothes that were damp from the sea breeze and hunted for food on board. That way, his story would have been more believable. His mistake was that he had no experience of being banished. He didn't know what it was like to be blown on the sea for 3 days, nor did he know what it was like to be starved for 3 days at sea. The importance of life experience was vividly displayed at times like this. Stop lying. Su Yin. Your eyes have already betrayed you. If you want to lie in front of me, then don't let me find out from the start. Once I find out, all your lies will be exposed. Do you know that the pupils of the eyes represent the function of the kidneys? One look at your pupils and I can tell that you have kidney deficiency due to long-term indulgence. When you said that you didn't participate in the rape of girls, didn't you feel ashamed? You've done a lot of this, haven't you? Zhang Ji was really convinced this time. Really, he was so impressed that he prostrated himself on all fours. You can even tell. What kind of gaze is that? You can tell kidney deficiency from pupils. Zhang Ji admitted that his backache and weakness were often caused by excessive indulgence. It seemed that he really was weak. I don't dare to lie anymore. I don't dare to lie anymore. Zhang Ji begged. I'll tell the truth. I'll tell the truth. It was the captain who asked me to come. I had no choice. I begged the two of you to let me go. I didn't do anything. Please let me go. Seeing that we're both Chinese, can you do it? The Beijing clan can't hold back anymore? Lin Ge said. Wait, what's your captain's name? Qiu Heng, Zhang Ji said. Su Yin sneered. Lin Ge placed the kitchen knife on Zhang Ji's finger. Keep lying. Do you think I don't dare to cut it? Kid, let me tell you, if I can cut potatoes as thin as a strand of hair, then I can cut your fingers as thin as a finger. I didn't make it up. Just ask around. Everyone knows that the captain of our beluga whale regiment is Qiu Heng. Zhang Ji shouted. He was truly afraid that Lin Ge would cut him down. A person who would betray his master without hesitation. If I were Qiu Heng, I definitely wouldn't arrange for such a person to work for me. Su Yin lightly said. Pigeon, don't talk nonsense with him. He won't tell the truth. According to the rules, chop off his hands, pull out his tongue, and throw him down to feed the sharks. Okay. Lin Ge raised the kitchen knife in his hand with a whoosh. I was wrong. I was really wrong. I'll talk. Speak. Tell me everything. I won't lie anymore. Zhang Ji closed his eyes and gritted his teeth. He was afraid that if the knife cut him, everything would be over. Lin Ge chopped the knife less than a centimeter away from Zhang Ji's finger, scaring Zhang Ji into a cold sweat. If I pull out your tongue, you won't have the chance to speak even if you want to, Lin Ge said. Don't waste my time. Is that okay? Yes. I am not a member of the beluga whale regiment. Zhang Ji smiled bitterly. If Captain Naka knew that he was soft-spoken, he would die when he returned. He was now in a dilemma, but he could only save his own life first and think of another way. Since you're not a member of the beluga whale regiment, then you claim to be a member of the beluga whale regiment. Su Yin raised his eyebrows. Looks like your Sharks clan and the beluga whale regiment don't get along. At least on the surface, but on the inside. Zhang Ji smiled bitterly and found an excuse for himself. He wasn't the one who said it. It was Su Yin who saw through it. Even if Captain Naka questioned him, he would say so. Do you admit it or not? Lin Ge said. If you don't admit it, I'll teach you a lesson. Tell me, is your blood red or black? I admit it, Zhang Ji said repeatedly. I was really forced to do this. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be willing to do this job. Brothers, I beg you. Give me a way out. I swear, I'll change my face. I'll be a new man. Can you do that? Su Yin had no interest in wasting his breath on a small fry. You can meet us so coincidentally. Do you think I'm stupid enough to think that there aren't any of your people around? How many people are here? Give me a count. Let's see if you're honest. Zhang Ji was dumbfounded. How was he supposed to open his mouth? You're not going to say it, are you? Lin Ge glared. Brother, I think this grandson won't shed a tear until he sees the coffin. Let's not give him face. So what if he's Chinese? The Chinese are all bastards. They're just as disgusting as the Japanese. Let him bleed, Suyin said. We've met someone who's really stubborn today. Lin Ge put down the kitchen knife in his hand and picked up a sharp cone-shaped knife. With a whoosh, he pierced the back of Zhang Ji's hand and pressed it against the chopping board. Ah! This pig-like scream echoed in the Pacific Ocean. Zhang Ji's mouth finally softened. There was no other way. He wouldn't die for Naka. Naka didn't treat him very well. He hit and scolded him whenever he wanted. If it weren't for the stinky money, he really wouldn't be willing to work for Naka. If he lost his life, there would be no place to spend his money. Zhang Ji understood this. I'll tell you everything. I was sent by Captain Naka. Zhang Ji gritted his teeth and endured the pain in his hand. But Captain Naka doesn't mean any harm. He wants to make friends with you, but he doesn't want Captain Xiao Hung of the Beluga Whale clan to make friends with you. So he sent me to create a facade and cause some trouble. Suyin nodded. He believed this. If I don't expose you, what will you do next? I'll attack you when you're not paying attention, then steal your things and escape, Zhang Ji said. You'll implicate Captain Xiao Hung with your anger. This way, our Captain Naka will have a chance to make friends with you. Suyin shook his head in disdain. Is there a need to make it so complicated? If you want to make friends, just say the word. Zhang Ji was stunned. Was he hallucinating? He spent so much effort and was even stabbed, and Suyin just said such a simple sentence. Wouldn't all his efforts have been in vain? Pigeon, send him off the boat. Let him continue to float. Suyin didn't give Zhang Ji a chance to explain. Lin Ge pulled Zhang Ji up and threw him into the sea without a word. The lonely boat was returned to him. Zhang Ji's hand was bleeding. Of course he was scared. Many carnivorous creatures in the ocean had a super sensitive sense of smell, to the smell of blood. You can't leave me like this. I'll die. Zhang Ji cried. If your people can leave you here, they can bring you back. Lin Ge ignored him. After throwing him away, he turned back to sail the boat. He didn't want the smell of blood to attract any sea monsters. If that happened, they would be in trouble too. Looking at the small boat in the distance, Zhang Ji frantically used his uninjured hand to swim in the water. He tried his best to leave the area contaminated by his blood. At the same time, he screamed for help at the top of his lungs. He hoped that his people could hear him. Otherwise, he really couldn't be saved. When the boat was far away, Lin Ge smiled. Brother, we'll definitely be in trouble today. Yeah, Suyin said. The sharks won't take this lying down. We have to be careful. They've been watching us for a long time. I believe they'll come to us today. These guys are really annoying. There's no end to it. Can't help it. Who asked me to be so charming? Lin Ge laughed. Brother, it's okay. We'll deal with it when it comes. No matter what happens, I'll be with you. Chapter 16:14. Poor Zhang Ji didn't see his men after he was abandoned. His men's ships went straight to Su Yun and Lin Ji's yacht in order to gain merit in front of Captain Naka. As for Zhang Ji's life or death, it had nothing to do with their interests. They didn't need to save him at all. This kind of behavior of not saving one's own people was very normal in Naka's shark gang. They were a group of guys who gathered together for personal benefits. If they weren't people who absolutely advocated personal benefits, they wouldn't have to stay in the shark gang every day to eat a mouthful of rice that could get a few more coins. Of course, Zhang Ji wasn't unlucky enough to be targeted by a sea monster that smelled blood. At this moment, the ship that appeared in front of him had a very obvious mark. It was the mark of a white whale that floated out of the sea. No one in this area didn't know this mark. It was the mark of the white whale gang. The people on the ship didn't give Zhang Ji time to react. They directly carried him onto the ship. Zhang Ji's face was blank, and his heart was filled with fear. Although they were all pirates and thieves, no matter what industry they were in, there was a saying that people of the same trade were enemies. Usually, in order to not let the ancient magpie world take advantage of the situation, The shark gang and the white whale gang didn't have any conflicts. However, this was also a sign of discord. Everyone was well aware of this, and no one was willing to expose it. The two sides also tried their best to avoid contact to avoid conflicts. Zhang Ji looked up at the people of the white whale gang on the ship and recognized Captain Mo Tai at a glance. This guy was famous for being ruthless in the white whale gang. He was highly valued and appreciated by Captain Chiu Hung. Among the few reputable captains in the white whale gang, Mo Tai's name could be considered the most famous. Zhang Ji was naturally a little afraid of meeting him. Brother of the shark gang, what's the situation? Why are you so miserable? Mo Tai said with a smile. He was originally a sea merchant, and his route was to deliver supplies to the Hawaiian Islands. Later, he was robbed by pirates, and because he was outnumbered, he was defeated. He was left on an isolated island with nothing. It was Chiu Hung who saved him and gave him a chance. Since then, Mo Tai had always been by Chiu Hung's side. Although Chiu Hung was also a pirate, Mo Tai did not care. I'm not. Zhang Ji wanted to come up with an excuse. He didn't want Mo Tai to know that he was a member of the Sharks gang. But when he wanted to say that he was an ordinary person, he couldn't bring himself to say it. That was because the Beijing gang was also a gang of thieves. If he said that he was an ordinary person, wouldn't it be obvious that he was being bullied? If he was thrown into the sea with a knife, wouldn't he be even worse off? Have you thought of something to make up? Mo Tai was still smiling. There's no rush. Think about it slowly. We'll talk after you've thought it through. I'm not that easy to fool. Mo Tai was of mixed Chinese and European descent, with a quarter of Huaxia blood. Therefore, as a Chinese, Zhang Ji could only use this connection to speak. Captain Mo Tai, everyone has Huaxia blood flowing in their veins. You saved my life. I can't thank you enough. I like that. I like it when people know that I have Huaxia blood in my veins. Do you know what our captain said about me? He said that I can't be considered a descendant of Yan Huang, but I can still be considered a grandson of Yan Huang. A grandson is still a grandson, Mo Tai said. After saying that, he felt that he was scolding himself, so he spat. A grandson of Yan Huang is the same as a descendant of Yan Huang. Yes. Zhang Ji hurriedly said. You're a grandson, I'm a grandson, both of us are grandsons. With a swoosh, several guns were pointed at Zhang Ji's head. It didn't matter if Mo Tai called himself a grandson, but it didn't matter if others said so. Zhang Ji realized that he had made a mistake and immediately shut up. He knew that if he said anything wrong again, he wouldn't be able to get off the ship alive. I didn't mean that, Captain Mo Tai. I really didn't mean that. We're compatriots. Zhang Ji hurriedly explained. I really don't dare to scold you. Okay. I know. Mo Tai waved his hand, and his subordinates put down their guns. Since you don't admit that you're a member of the Sharks sect, give me a reason. Where are you from? You have to give me an answer. I'm a pirate. You know what I do for a living? Captain Mo Tai. If I'm a member of the Sharks sect, Zhang Ji asked tentatively. If you're a member of the Sharks sect, I'll definitely give face to Captain Naka. Mo Tai said. We're all pirates. What's that saying again? Oh yes, we're from the same roots. Why are we in such a hurry to kill each other? Don't you agree? Zhang Ji heaved a sigh of relief. Yes. Captain Mo Tai, you're right. We're from the same roots. We can't kill each other too quickly. Mo Tai shook his head helplessly. He despised such uncultured people the most. Captain Mo Tai, I'm a member of the Sharks sect. I really am. If you give face to Captain Naka will definitely remember this favor. Zhang Ji nodded and bowed. Thank you for saving me. If you can send me back, then I'll be even more grateful. Captain Naka will also be very grateful. You drank too much early in the morning? I'll send you back? Mo Tai looked at Zhang Ji, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Can't you be more reliable? How am I unreliable? Zhang Ji was stunned, but he quickly understood that Mo Tai couldn't send him back. After all, they weren't from the same faction. They were also not on good terms in this sea region. It was impossible for them to be so close. After he reacted, Zhang Ji hurriedly explained, Yes, yes, yes. I'm too naive. I asked Captain Mo Tai to send me somewhere nearby, and then I'll go back by myself. I'll never forget your great kindness. Who are you? You want our Captain Mo Tai to send you back? Hearing this, Zhang Ji was once again embarrassed. He didn't have much of a reputation here. Why would Captain Mo Tai care about him? If you can promise me one thing, I can consider sending you back. Captain Mo Tai smiled. Please say it. Let alone one thing, even if it's 10 things, I'll agree to it. Zhang Ji was so excited that he was incoherent. Mo Tai nodded. So it's like this. Why were you thrown off the ship just now? What's the situation? Tell me. Zhang Ji was stunned. Of course he couldn't say it. If he did, he would definitely die. Rice could be eaten carelessly, but words couldn't be spoken carelessly. He had just poured dirty water on the Beijing clan. Of course he couldn't admit it. There were 2 of my brothers on that ship. They had a little conflict, so. Zhang Ji smiled bitterly. Mo Tai pointed at Zhang Ji's injured palm. You used a knife for a conflict between brothers? Looks like brother isn't willing to tell me the truth. Forget it. After you return with me, I believe Captain Chiu Hung will definitely make you tell the truth. After a pause, Mo Tai said, our Beijing clan isn't willing to pay any attention to your Sharks clan. But that doesn't mean we won't care if you play dirty tricks behind our backs. Take him away and lock him up. No. Captain Mo Tai. I still have something to say. Zhang Ji hurriedly pleaded. But Mo Tai ignored him. 2 of his subordinates dragged Zhang Ji away and locked him up in a small dark room. The Sharks clan had always been despicable. This time, they wouldn't be nice to them anymore. Since they wanted to play dirty tricks, the Beijing clan wouldn't be polite to them anymore. Mo Tai knew very well that the Sharks clan was up to no good. Chapter 16-15. In the eyes of the other pirates in this area, Chiu Hung was definitely a demon in a gentlemanly outfit. If you weren't his brother, friend, or subordinate, then the next second he smiled and chatted with you, he might stab you in the heart with a sharp knife. That was why he was so scary. When Mo Tai brought Zhang Ji from the Sharks to Chiu Hung just looked at him without saying a word. Zhang Ji's legs were already weak, and he almost knelt on the ground. This was the aura that Chiu Hung exuded after dominating this area for many years. To be precise, it was the aura of a king. Indeed, in this area, if Chiu Hung said that he was second, even Naka from the Sharks wouldn't dare to say that he was first. This was the source of his aura of a king. Every time I see a Chinese, I feel a special sense of familiarity. Chiu Hung smiled. Sometimes, I even dream about why the descendants of the dragon are so powerful. They can spread all over the world and become experts in various fields, making people from other countries look up to us Chinese. At this point, Chiu Hung closed his eyes and looked like he was enjoying himself. Yes, in this area, no one dared to look down on the Chinese. This was mainly because of his existence. Because of his strength, all the Chinese were able to stand up straight. Because of his existence, all the Chinese were ahead above others. He was very proud of this. What do you think? Chiu Hung suddenly asked. Zhang Ji nodded repeatedly. He didn't know what he should say. To be more precise, he didn't even dare to open his mouth. Once he opened his mouth and said something wrong, he would be no different from a dead man. Chiu Hung didn't even need to lift a finger. Just a glance was enough to kill him. It wasn't an exaggeration at all. Chiu Hung shook his head. That's not good. I don't like people without integrity. Yes, of course, you're not Huaxia. You're just Huaxia. But I still don't like it. You have the blood of a descendant of the dragon, but you don't even have the courage to speak in front of me. You're not worthy. Do you know? You're not worthy. He was afraid that he would say something wrong, but not speaking was also wrong. Zhang Ji's expression was almost twisted. He didn't know whether to cry or laugh. He even wanted to die. Unworthy? What else could he say? Should I say that I'm not worthy? Or should I say that I'm worthy? How dare he talk back to Chiu Hung so confidently? Wouldn't that mean they would die even faster? Can't we communicate properly? What the hell is going on here? Mo Tai stepped forward and patted Zhang Ji on the shoulder. Do you understand what the captain means? I've already given you a way out, so don't refuse. On the ship, it's fine if you don't tell me the truth because you think I'm the grandson of Yan Huang. But our captain isn't. If you continue to play tricks, then. What do you mean by Yan Huang's grandson? Qiu Heng was stunned. Zhang Ji also said obediently, yes, yes, yes. I also think that Captain Naka's move is a bit too damaging. It's too sinister. There's no such thing as sinister or not, only ridiculous and boring. Qiu Heng said. Naka is simply doing a stupid thing. Didn't he use his brain to think that as a person who put a 30 million bounty on his head? How could he not see through all of this? Very good. I have such a stupid competitor. It's a good thing for me. Zhang Ji was stunned. He didn't understand at all. Emotai, I think I can go and meet this Su Yin now, Qiu Heng said. With Naka's stupidity helping me lay the foundation, I believe that my conversation with him will go smoothly and be very pleasant. Emotai nodded, roughly understanding Qiu Heng's meaning. Captain, your brain is still the best. It's not that I'm good, it's that the competitor is too stupid, Qiu Heng said with a smile on his face. Zhang Ji was completely at a loss, but then he quickly recovered. Yes, Su Yun and the others were indeed very smart. They exposed his scam at that time, and knew that he was from the Sharks gang. Now, Su Yun's impression of the Sharks gang was not good. Qiu Heng's appearance at this time showed the sincerity of the Beijing gang. With this comparison, wouldn't Captain Naka's image be completely ruined? Then, wouldn't it be ridiculous for him to still want to recruit Su Yun under his command? Aya, this is really a coincidence. You've helped me so much. I won't treat you unfairly, Qiu Heng said. Since you're still Captain Naka's man, I have to give you some face. I won't take your life. Thank you, Captain. Zhang Ji finally felt a weight lifted off his shoulders. However, according to the rules, you still have to leave something behind. As for what to leave behind, it's up to you. If you leave too much, I won't mind. If you leave too little, my people will naturally take more. Qiu Heng said and waved his hand to let Emotai take him away. He felt irritated when he saw people without backbone. Chapter 16:16. The rule of 3 knives and 6 holes originated from Xinjiang's Dagger Society. Members who violated certain rules would stab their calves 3 times with a knife. 3 knives would leave 6 holes. It was called 3 knives and 6 holes. Perhaps this trick seemed to be very effective and meaningful, so this rule appeared in many gangs in the future. Slowly, it became a way to atone for their sins. This was not a fatal punishment, but it would make people unable to get out of bed for half a month. Some unlucky ones would even injure their muscles and bones when the knife penetrated their calves, directly becoming paralyzed. So this was indeed a heavy punishment. After suffering the pain of 3 knives and 6 holes, Zhang Ji was sent out by the Beluga Whale Society. Zhang Ji finally returned to the front of Captain Naka. When he saw Captain Naka, he immediately hugged his head and burst into tears. He pointed to his 2 broken legs and mumbled for a long time, but still couldn't make it clear what had happened. What Naka cared about was not his 2 crippled legs. What he cared about was whether he had settled Su Yun's matter. He wanted to figure out whether he had done something that he should have done. Zhang Ji cried, "Captain, I will definitely complete what you asked me to do perfectly. But after being found out by Qiu Heng, he will definitely play tricks behind my back." Zhang Ji did not dare to tell the truth. If Su Yun had exposed him at that time, then once Naka got angry, he might have killed him now. So he really did not dare to be rash. He could only make up a lie. "Captain, that guy Qiu Heng is torturing me. I'm already like this. I can't do anything. But he's too smart. He can actually guess our motives. I really can't do anything about it. But don't worry, Captain, I didn't admit it. I won't admit it even if I'm beaten to death." Naka glanced at Zhang Ji. "You said that Qiu Heng guessed the purpose of me asking you to find Su Yun, and then you didn't admit it. How could he let you go?" I didn't expect Qiu Heng to be so bold and open-minded. If it were me, I would definitely not let you go. I would definitely let you die. Yes, Captain Qiu Heng is indeed bold." Halfway through, Zhang Ji suddenly realized that his mouth was really asking for a beating. He immediately changed his words. "No, he's not bold. This was called being soft-hearted. A woman's benevolence will never amount to anything. He can't be compared to you, Captain. Your belief is the most correct. A great man must be ruthless. In order to achieve greatness, one had to be ruthless. If you want to become a king, you have to be ruthless. He can't compare to you. He can't become a king. Well said. Naka said, so a lot of times I don't do what I want to do. It's just that I can't help it. For example, I really don't want to kill you now, but what if you've been bought over by Chiu-hung? What about being a spy by my side? That will affect my ambition. So I can only be ruthless. Zhang Ji was stunned. What did that mean? I have to wrong you, Naka said. I can't believe what you said today, so you have to die. Captain Naka, what do you mean? I was outside. I went through fire and water for you. I came back like this. Maybe I'll be a cripple for the rest of my life. You actually want to kill me? Zhang Ji couldn't believe what he had heard. He was really shocked, too shocked. Naka nodded. That's right, I want to kill you. Just in case. I didn't die in the hands of outsiders outside. You want to kill me when I come back. Zhang Ji still couldn't believe it. He stared at Naka and said, Captain, you did this. Have you ever thought about the consequences? Have you ever thought about the stupidity of your actions? I'm stupid? Naka sneered. I don't think I'm stupid. You're the stupid ones. You're the stupid ones. If you don't say anything to Chiu-hung, you won't be able to come back alive. Chiu-hung isn't a charity. He's just like me, a ruthless pirate. Zhang Ji knew that he couldn't save himself this time. The people Naka wanted to kill couldn't escape. Naka, you really are a bastard. Zhang Ji suddenly felt a flame burning in his heart. This flame seemed to be the kind of backbone that Chiu-hung called the descendants of the dragon. I risked my life for you and worked hard for you outside. In the end, I didn't die outside. After returning, I actually want to die in your hands. Yes, you're right. You're going to die in my hands. Naka said, you should be glad. Because of your efforts over the years, I will give you a quick death, so that you will die without any pain. Instead of hanging you, I will use a bullet. With a bang, you will not know anything. And I will leave you an intact corpse. Isn't it very nice of me to do this? The flames in Zhang Ji's heart burned fiercely, but he was not a match for Naka. He was not a match for him when he was healthy. Naturally, it was even more impossible now. Think about it. If you die in the hands of an outsider, you will die in an embarrassing manner. In the end, you will have to throw your corpse to feed the fish. Naka said. You've been with me for so many years. Zhang Ji was silent for a long time. Mr. Lu Sun's words were too classic. If you don't die in silence, then you explode in silence. Zhang Ji exploded without any warning. He didn't know where he got the strength from, but he suddenly pounced on Naka. He knew very well that he couldn't kill Naka, but he decided that even if he died, he would take away some of Naka's things and make Naka regret it for the rest of his life. The unprepared Naka naturally didn't expect Zhang Ji's sudden outburst. Zhang Ji pounced on his back, bit his left ear, and tore it off. Under the stimulation of blood, Zhang Ji laughed loudly as he chewed on the bloody ear in his mouth. He wanted to chew it up and eat it, so that Naka wouldn't even have a chance to repair it. Naka endured the pain and roared, causing all the members of the Sharks gang to tremble in fear. Zhang Ji died miserably. It was indescribable. But Naka also lost an ear because of his ruthlessness. The white gauze on his head was very dazzling. Naka had never smiled since his ear was bitten off. He hated. This hatred had been transferred from the dead Zhang Ji to Chiu-hung. If it weren't for Chiu-hung's interference, he wouldn't have left behind this lifelong regret. Little did he know that Chiu-hung wasn't the only one who wanted to interfere with his Naka plan in this sea. And over the years they had been looking down on the first marine criminal gang, the Base Pirates. Compared to Chiu-hung and Naka, Base was a native. His family was quite good. He was born in Hawaii, but because of his habitual crime, he was wanted everywhere. In the end, he could only run to the sea to make a living. Unexpectedly, Base was really suitable for this industry. Soon he started to play tricks in this sea and set up his own pirate group. But for so many years, He had been trying to keep a low profile in front of his peers because the power of Chiohung and Naka was indeed not something that ordinary pirates could shake. Therefore, if there was something that Chiohung and Naka might be interested in, Base basically chose to avoid it, so Chiohung and Naka had never paid attention to him. Little did they know that under their indifference, Base's strength had grown bit by bit. Now Base could basically say that except for the Beluga gang and the Sharks gang, there was no other peer that he was afraid of. This time, Base didn't choose to retreat as usual. Even though he was very clear that the Beluga gang and the Sharks gang would be interested in Su Yun, he was going to go all out and see this Su Yun. He had ambitions, he had ideas, but he hadn't had the opportunity for so many years. This time he was the closest to the opportunity. He believed that once he seized the opportunity, it would mean that he would open up a brand new prosperous Sea dynasty. And if he wanted to open up this prosperous Sea dynasty, he needed an important bargaining chip to join his camp. And this important bargaining chip was Su Yun, whom both the Beluga gang and the Sharks gang had their eyes on. He had his eyes on him too. Of course he had to. Compared to the Beluga gang and the Sharks gang, Base was more interested. Because he was very clear that if he could use these two guys who made a name for themselves overnight, he could straighten his back and become a tripartite balance of power with the Beluga gang and the Sharks gang. Chapter 16-17. Bath didn't have as many schemes as Naka, nor was he as calm as Chiohung. His method was simple and direct. As soon as Su Yun entered his sphere of influence, he was surrounded by Bath's fleet. There were more than 20 speedboats of various sizes. This was the first time Bath had received a reception of this scale. Su Yun and Lin Ge began to get used to this kind of constant harassment and enlistment, so they didn't take it too seriously. After all, Bath didn't have a direct conflict with them, so the two of them weren't overly nervous. They just thought that there would be more and more of this kind of thing in the future. And they felt annoyed. It was too troublesome. This harassment was endless. You're here for the Mahogany Order again, right? Go back and tell your captain that we don't have time to mess with you. Don't mess with us. Lin Ge pointed at a short, strange-looking person on the main ship and said, "If you don't want to cause trouble, then get out of the way now." This short and strange-looking fellow was Bath himself. Perhaps he was the leader with the least temperament in this sea region. His brandy nose and unkempt hair made him look like a sailor who drank too much. He did not give off the domineering feeling of an awe-inspiring person. It was normal that Lin Ge couldn't tell that he was the captain. However, the person beside Bath wasn't willing. He pointed at Bath and said, "This is our Captain Bath. Can't you see with your eyes? Our captain will come to the deck to see you in person. You should feel that you have unlimited honor and glory. This honor and glory will make you proud. Don't talk nonsense. Get to the point." Lin Ge smiled helplessly. This was the captain. He really couldn't tell. There was probably no one on this ship who was more unsuitable to be a leader than him. He didn't have the temperament of a leader at all. How could such a person be a captain? This pirate crew was probably just a bunch of small fries that didn't make the cut. However, Su Yun didn't think so. Seeing that he didn't even have the temperament of a leader, he was still able to become a captain. And there were hundreds of people who would listen to his orders. This was definitely not something an ordinary person could do. Perhaps they hadn't noticed this guy's outstanding qualities, but one thing was certain, he was definitely not a simple person. "I like your straightforwardness. I like your straightforwardness. Then, I'll get straight to the point." Bath didn't turn hostile because of Lin Ji's provocative tone. He spoke as if he was narrating something. "You entered my sphere of influence, so I came to see you. I came to see you because I admire you. I hope that our meeting is a kind of fate. If the two of you can join hands with me to create glory, I am willing to call you brothers. If you can't join hands with me to create glory, then I won't hold back." Brothers. Su Yun was speechless. This guy was really too much. He just said that you were willing, but he didn't ask us if we were willing. Lin Ge looked at Su Yun with a bitter smile. The person he met today was really strange. "Brother, what should we do? He has already said good words, given us face and threatened us. It really puts me in a dilemma." "But I don't want to call him brother," Su Yun said. "Brother, with your words, then I won't be in a difficult position at all." Linga said. He turned around and pointed at Bath. Shorty, did you hear what my brother said just now? I don't want to call you brother, so give up on your idea. Take your people and scram now. We don't have time to waste with you. He didn't have the patience of Chiu Hung and Naka at all. He sneered. Then I'll let you know why the head on my head is 10 million more expensive than yours, which is worth 30 million. Naka sneered. Then I'll let you know why the head on my head is 10 million more expensive than your 30 million head. Aya, he's still a tough guy. Suyin didn't care so much. Talking nonsense with these people was just wasting his time. To catch bandits, first catch the leader. As long as the people on the main ship were crippled, the other small fries would be scattered like sand. Su Yin and Lin Ge both rushed to the other party's main ship at the same time. This way they could prevent a lot of sneak attacks. After all, the other party's Captain Bath and a group of core leaders were on the deck of the main ship. The sailors on the other boats didn't dare to shoot randomly. Bath never thought that there would be someone more direct than him. He had just declared war, and the other party had already rushed up. Did this Red Guagua's provocation not put him in his eyes at all? Didn't the other party hear him say that the head on his head was 10 million more expensive than his? Perhaps it was because of this sentence that Su Yin wanted to prove to him that the value of the head on his neck couldn't be determined. In the end, who was worth more and who wasn't? It would be clear after a fight. When Su Yin and Lin Ge broke into the main ship of the Bath pirates, not only were dozens of strong sailors rushing towards them with swords, but the people on the ship also immediately joined the battle. In the moment of the fight, Su Yin and Lin Ge realized that the strength of the Bath pirates was really stronger than the ones they had encountered before. They could no longer be described as weak. With their strong personal strength, Su Yin and Lin Ge still had a slight upper hand. Although the people on the Bath pirate side were all battle-hardened, their strength was limited after all. It was not easy for them to withstand 3 moves in front of Su Yin. Bath quickly realized why the heads of the 2 people in front of him were worth so much money. Their strength was not to be underestimated. Bath didn't hesitate and directly joined the battle. It was not easy for him to make a name for himself in this sea. He didn't know when, but there was an iron hook in Bath's hand. Of course, this was not the kind of pirate hook that was installed after the hand was cut off, but a special weapon. This was the weapon that allowed Bath to gain a foothold in this sea. Even the real holder of the Mahogany Order, Yuan, had almost lost to Bath's iron hook. At that time, if it wasn't for the deterrence of this iron hook, Bath might not have been able to escape Yuan's coercion. That was the first confrontation between Bath and the holder of the Mahogany Order, and it ended with his escape. This time, he faced the holder of the Mahogany Order again, but he had no intention of retreating. This time he had more people, and this time, he was more confident. Even if he couldn't win, he could escape from the holder of the Mahogany Order once, and he could escape from the holder of the Mahogany Order a second time. The surge of confidence made Bath rush to Su Yin without hesitation, and the iron hook in his hand also directly attacked the back of Su Yin's head. As long as Su Yin was careless, he could directly use his strange iron hook to directly hook a big hole in Su Yin's throat. When Su Yin saw the strange weapon in Bath's hand, he knew that he had to be careful. In the world, whether it was Southern Fist, Northern Kick, boxing, or Sanda, as long as there was a move and momentum, one could break it. And this strange hook weapon was definitely not the hook in the axe, hook, or fork. Su Yin couldn't figure out Bath's moves at all. Of course, he didn't dare to be careless. If the other party really had a move that he couldn't figure out, it would be enough to make him cry for a while. When Bath saw that Su Yin was apprehensive, he wielded the weapon in his hand even more fiercely. He clearly remembered that when he fought Yuan was very apprehensive of his move, because his weapon was too strange. Now, it seemed that Su Yin was also apprehensive of Bath's move. Therefore, Bath attacked Su Yin even more unscrupulously. In addition, Bath's second-in-command on the ship was already entangled with Su Yin, so Su Yin had no choice but to continuously retreat. For a moment, it seemed that Bath's addition instantly put Su Yin at a disadvantage. Due to Su Yin's retreat, Lin Ge was unable to obtain sufficient support. He quickly fell into the encirclement of the Bath pirates. From the looks of it, his situation was even more precarious. Bath was very satisfied with his influence. Since Suyin didn't agree to work under him, he would rather destroy him than let him join forces with others. If he couldn't have it, he definitely couldn't let a stronger opponent get it. If that happened, his dream of dominating the Pacific Ocean would be even more distant. Chapter 16-18. Seeing Suyin continuously being forced back by Bath's strangely shaped iron hook, Lin Ge was also anxious. Once he was angered, it would be easier for him to reveal an opening for the other party to take advantage of. With this chain reaction, Suyin and Lin Ge looked as if they were about to be completely defeated by the other party's overwhelming attacks. A satisfied smile had already appeared on Bath's face. He knew they had won. They had definitely won. Because there was no doubt about it. The head on his neck was worth 40 million. Furthermore, he felt that his value was a little low. He had fought with Yi Yuan from the Hunter Academy, and he did not die at his hands. If Yi Yuan was worth 48 million, then he felt that he should be about the same as him, at least higher than 40 million, at least 45 million. Bath cared a lot about this number. Sometimes, this number would determine his status and level in this sea. Therefore he cared a lot. Against a head that was 10 million cheaper than his own, Bath had absolute confidence. He believed that this number determined one's strength. This number determined one's victory or defeat. It determined everything. However, he soon realized that he was wrong. Very wrong. After a few rounds of overwhelming attacks, Suyin quickly figured out his moves. It was the same logic as the fight between Hanadu Sakuragi and Tetsuo in Slam Dunk. Tetsuo might have given Hanadu Sakuragi a lot of punches at the beginning, but after Hanadu Sakuragi figured out Tetsuo's moves, it was impossible for Tetsuo to hit him again. This was a kind of after-the-fact tactic. When Suyin was faced with a weapon that he couldn't understand, he would naturally use the method of gaining the upper hand after making the first move. Although it was feasible to meet force with force, he didn't want to be injured in the hands of such a person with no temperament. If that were to spread, it would really be a bit embarrassing. To put it bluntly, when Yi Yuan mentioned this area to Suyin, he only paid attention to the Beluga clan and the sharks. He didn't mention the base pirate crew at all. If he were to be injured by a pirate crew captain who didn't even care about the base pirate crew, wouldn't that be embarrassing for Bufifan? Even if Suyin wasn't the kind of person who cared about his reputation, he still had to protect his reputation when he needed to protect it. Bath, who had just found an overwhelming advantage, quickly realized Suyin's counterattack. He was a little surprised when Suyin stopped dodging his iron hook. When Suyin could pull the people around her to block Bath's fatal attacks for her, even Bath himself was a little flustered. Bath's subordinates were even more nervous. They did not dare to get close to Suyin, afraid that they would become Suyin's meat shield. Because of this mentality, Suyin and Lin Ge felt less and less pressure. The Bath pirate crew's overwhelming advantage instantly turned into nothing. Everything had to start anew. This time, everyone's standpoint had changed. The iron hook in Bath's hand was still powerful, but the people who feared it were no longer Suyin, but Bath's own subordinates. There were two corpses on the ground. One was a sailing swordsman whose throat had been hooked by Bath's iron hook, while the other was a sailing swordsman whose heart and lungs had been pierced by Bath's hook. These two were usually powerful members of the Bath pirate crew. Now they had been crippled by Bath. Dying at the hands of one's own men always gave people a terrifying psychological pressure. Although everyone saw that these two people had died so miserably because they were pulled over by Suyin as shields, it was the iron hook in Bath's hand that caused their deaths. Stay away. Stay away from Suyin. The further away they were from him, the safer their lives would be. That was what everyone on the Bath pirate crew was thinking. Their thinking could allow Suyin and Lin Ge to fight in a very relaxed environment. Bath was a little angry. He gloomily looked at his subordinates who were constantly retreating. Scared? Are you? You're already scared after two people died. You've been pirates with me for so many years. You should know what pirates do. If you don't even have this little bit of courage, then you don't deserve to stay on my ship. Bath angrily rebuked. The entire ship was silent. Don't force them. Everyone has their own ambitions. Since you, the captain, don't think that they're suitable to be pirates, then let them go. The sooner they leave, the The sooner we get this over with. Out of sight, out of mind, Lin Ge said, fanning the flames. Su Yun knew that they had won this psychological battle. They had won very easily. If Bath's men weren't afraid of death, then he and Lin Ge might not be able to withstand the siege of so many people. In addition, Bath had such a strange weapon. Once the other party had the spirit of victory and no regrets, then the ones who would die today would definitely be him and Lin Ge. It was still the same sentence. Pirates were pirates after all. They were in this industry to survive, so no one wanted to throw away their lives for no reason. Even after Bath said those words, no one dared to take the lead to surround Su Yun and Lin Ge. They were all waiting for an opportunity. If Bath dared to take the lead, then perhaps they would dare to fight. If Bath didn't dare to personally take action, then there was no need for them to be on tenterhooks and seek death. If they didn't die in the hands of the enemy, then they wouldn't even have a title if they died under their captain's iron hook. If they died, then they would only have the crime of blocking Captain Bath's fatal blow. It wouldn't be good for them to exert their strength, no. It should be said that it wouldn't be good for them to put their lives on the line. Whoever was willing to do such a thing would be a fool. With every step Su Yun took forward, Bath's men would take a step back. Bath's psychological pressure also became heavier. Bath, who had always thought that victory was within his grasp, suddenly realized that he would be afraid of Su Yun even before he truly exchanged blows with him. Why was it like this? His heart had always been very strong, but it was different this time. He was actually afraid this time. That's right. The fear that came from the depths of his heart couldn't be expressed with words, but it truly existed in the depths of his heart. In the instant that Su Yun struck, Bath even forgot that he had the advantage of having so many people. He unconsciously raised his iron hook and clashed with Su Yun. When Su Yun wasn't harassed by those clingy people around him, his swift and violent punches caused Bath to lose his sense of direction. After parrying 2 blows, Bath was no longer able to judge Su Yun's shooting arrow-like kick. He was ruthlessly struck in the abdomen and retreated a few meters. After the captain quickly fell into a disadvantageous position, the morale of the others plummeted. Due to the iron hook in Bath's hand, no one dared to step forward to help. After Bath realized that Su Yun intended for his men to isolate him, he hurriedly shouted, "Take down Su Yun's head. All the bounty I get will belong to him." Under the temptation of 30 million, countless reckless fellows once again pounced forward. For the sake of money, there would always be people who were willing to give up their lives. However, Su Yun didn't hold back and grabbed another person as a shield. Although Bath didn't use his iron hook again, Su Yun still pressed that person's head onto Bath's iron hook. The iron hook in Bath's hand directly penetrated that person's head. In a moment of desperation, Bath quickly withdrew his hand. However, he didn't expect to use too much strength. Furthermore, this iron hook had undergone special treatment and actually hooked that person's head off. If this was on a normal day, pirates who had seen blood wouldn't feel nauseous and disgusted. However, it was different now. This was because Bath's hook didn't kill his opponent, but his own people. When anyone made an exchange of identities in their hearts, and imagined that they were the companions whose heads were hooked off, they couldn't help but feel waves of nausea. Thinking that the brain matter and blood was their own, no one could stand it. Su Yun's decisive and ruthless move had completely shattered the unity of Bath's pirate crew. In an instant, Bath had become an isolated and helpless clown. Chapter 16-19. In the face of Su Yun's sudden attack, Bath only had the power to resist. While he was distracted, Su Yun pinned the acupuncture point on his right hand, and the strange iron hook in his hand fell to the ground. At the same time, Lin Ge had been guarding Su Yun's back, fearing that someone would suddenly attack. Now that Bath had completely fallen into a disadvantageous position, his people should have chosen to give up, right? To catch bandits, first catch the leader, especially this kind of loose sand that was easy to disperse. It was the easiest to control. Therefore, the victory or defeat of the Bath pirates basically depended on Bath's victory or defeat. But something unexpected still happened. When the iron hook in Bath's hand fell, someone immediately stepped forward, because the danger they feared most was eliminated by Su Yun. This was really beyond the expectations of Su Yun and Lin Ge. Fortunately, Lin Ge did not relax his vigilance and quickly stopped the guy who wanted to sneak attack Su Yin from behind. One person's action quickly led to more people's actions. The stagnant dispute was once again stimulated. The pirates surrounded Su Yin and Lin Ge crazily. At this time, Bath realized that he was really stupid. If he had thrown away the iron hook earlier, maybe he would not have fallen into such a desperate situation. Although Su Yin and Lin Ge were besieged by his people, he had been completely defeated by Su Yin. Su Yin's strength was far beyond his expectations. After he threw away his weapon, Su Yin used a muscle-dislocating bone hand to cripple his right arm. Immediately afterward, Su Yin kicked Bath's left knee. He didn't know what acupuncture point he kicked, but Bath directly knelt on one knee. At the same time, Su Yin lifted Bath's right arm that had been dislocated and lifted Bath's chin. Then his right knee hit Bath's back. Bath's throat was strangled by his right arm, and Bath was completely subdued to the ground. All of you stop right there. Otherwise, I will break his neck right now. Su Yin shouted. When the pirates on the ship saw Bath being subdued, their limbs instantly went soft. What should they do? They all looked at each other, not knowing what to do next. Bath also knew that if he didn't listen to Su Yin only needed to exert a little force on his hands or knees and he would either die or be heavily injured. He used the loudest voice he could muster and roared, "Everyone stop!" At this moment, Bath was certain that this young man was stronger than Yi Yuan. But why was his bounty only 30 million? This was not the strength that a person with a 30 million bounty on his head should have. His bounty should be higher because he was harder to deal with. Bath took a deep breath. He was not convinced. Why is your bounty only 30 million, but you? Don't tell me this meaningless nonsense. Su Yin said. I don't have the time to care about the ranks of your bullshit bounties. I just want to tell you that you must provoke me today. Also, I'm not in a good mood these days. You can only blame yourself for being unlucky. You are the holders of the Mahogany Order. Even if I didn't provoke you, you would still provoke me, Bath said. Su Yin told him seriously. The Mahogany Order doesn't mean what you think it means to me. I have the Mahogany Order, but I am not Principal Gu's man. I have my own matters to attend to here. Since you pirates have repeatedly provoked me, I'll teach you a lesson. Su Yin had an idea. He would directly kill Bath and break up his pirate group. He would also tell his subordinates that he was not here to fight pirates, but to do his own thing. If the pirates did not want to die, they should not provoke him. This way, Bath's subordinates would run to other places to join and spread the news. This way, he could prevent a considerable amount of trouble. I didn't come here to go against you pirates. If you didn't provoke me, I wouldn't have the time to play with you, Su Yin said. But now that you've provoked me, I will make you regret it. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Su Yin and Bath. They did not know what to do and could only wait for the captain's orders. Captain Bath's face was flushed red, and he couldn't say a word. Su Yin's hands and knees continued to exert more force, and this force made it difficult for Bath to breathe. Soon Bath's eyes became bloodshot. He wanted to say something, but his throat, which was wrapped around by his own arms, was tightly strangled by a python. Not even a breath of air could enter the room, let alone speak. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. Su Yin's voice was full of penetrating power. If people offend me, I will kill them. The moment his voice fell, the powerful pressure caused the calm sea to churn with new waves. There were so many people present, but it was so quiet that they could only hear the sound of the seawater and the circling seagulls. Everything else was so quiet that even the sound of breathing could not be heard. Of course, when others stopped breathing, it was because they were afraid, but Bath stopped breathing because he could no longer breathe. He was strangled to death by his own arms. Su Yin released Bath's arms, and Bath's body fell to the ground with a thud. Seeing Bath's head fall heavily onto the deck, creating a series of echoes, no one had expected that Su Yin would actually sentence Bath to a death sentence while speaking. Bath's death was so unreconciled. His body and mind were under great pressure at the last moment, and this great pressure almost made him collapse. It could be said that Bath's death was not only because of Su Yin's restraint that made him unable to breathe, but also because Bath's heart had been severely damaged. He realized that his dream of becoming a hegemon was destined to be a fantasy. He could not even deal with 2 people, so how could he talk about the entire Pacific Ocean? This disappointment, coupled with the deterrence of Soo-Yun's pressure. And of course, the most important thing was that he could no longer breathe. Just like that, Bath's sinful journey in the Pacific Ocean ended. His death announced the destruction of one of the top 3 pirate groups in the sea. No one in the Bath pirate crew had ever thought that their Captain Bath would end up like this. They had imagined that their Captain Bath would die in a fierce battle with the White Whale Gang. They had also imagined that their Captain Bath would die in a fierce battle with the sharks. But they never expected that Captain Bath would die in the hands of a person. If you want to die, stay and continue. Soo-Yun's words entered everyone's ears. That pressure, which was like that of a divine soldier, made everyone present muddle-headed. No one dared to act rashly. Even Captain Bath had died without being able to resist. Who would dare to challenge this person? Apart from the people on the main ship who did not dare to move before Soo-Yun left, the people on the other ships quickly fled the scene. They knew that with their boss dead, this place was equivalent to dispersing. If you don't want to die, get out of here quickly. Remember, don't provoke me in the future. Soo-Yun coldly left these words and returned to his own small yacht with Lin Ge. He had Lin Ge speed up and leave quickly. Seeing the small yacht disappear, the main ship of the Bath pirate group started to become chaotic again. Since they were going to go their separate ways, who wouldn't want to snatch some good stuff? Captain Bath's head was valuable. But it was not as valuable as Captain Bath's little treasury. After the group of bandits lost their leader, it caused chaos. Their own people started to stab each other in the back. They were all very realistic. They had to divide more of Bath's wealth. If they wanted to join the White Whale Gang and the Shark Gang, they had to show enough sincerity. Money was especially important to them. The destruction of this large-scale pirate group in the Pacific Ocean had a much greater impact than the destruction of Camel's small pirate group. This was Soo-Yun's 3rd day in this sea region. In just 3 days, he had caused enough of a commotion. And every incident related to him was enough to make the headlines. In the words of the ancient magpie world, this kid was really too restless. He was even more restless than his father. The more restless he was, the bigger the world. The bigger the world, the more powerful he was. If he didn't cause trouble, he would have lived his life in vain. Chapter 16:20. Tang Yiping was truly impressed. He had spent so many years in this place to earn his reputation, but it had been achieved by a young man in just 3 days. The news of the Bath pirate crew being destroyed, and the new bounty was on the ancient magpie world's desk. The ancient magpie world had called them here to take a look at this matter. Yi Shui was the only female instructor in the Hunter Academy. She first picked up the bounty on Gu Magpie's desk. 60 million. In just 3 days his value had doubled. It was so exaggerated that it was hard to accept. This was too much. He had surpassed so many of them in just a short time. This kid was amazing. Hey, I heard that Lone Wolf and Crocodile made a bet. Yi Shui smiled. What's the bet? Lone Wolf, can you tell us? I'm willing to accept my loss. You don't have to worry about what the bet is. Tang Yiping shook his head helplessly. This loss was really inconceivable, but he accepted it wholeheartedly. He had nothing to say, really nothing to say. He knew that he had really underestimated others, and he deserved to be punished. In fact, there was no news at all 2 days ago. Yi Yuan was prepared to lose the bet, so Soo-Yun's sudden appearance was a huge surprise. No, it was more accurate to say that it was a shock. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. Shock lingered in the hearts of the instructors. Gu Magpie's face was filled with relief. He seemed to be very satisfied with the answer. The answer was also beyond his expectations. Gu Magpie was sure that Soo-Yun would use something to increase his value, but he did not expect that the sacrifice would be the Bath pirates, who had recently caught his attention. Bath was not an easy person to deal with. Yi Yuan, who had fought him before, had the most right to say this. Even now, Yi Yuan did not feel confident that he could take down Bath again. It was even more impossible for him to kill all the Bath pirates in Bath's territory and destroy the entire Bath pirates. This kid's limit did not stop here. Yi Yuan shrugged. I didn't expect him to use Bath as an example. You didn't expect it? Tang Yiping pursed his lips and said, AI, poor old wolf. I'm so unlucky to have fallen into your crafty scheme. Wait, I'm not the one who wants to bet with you. Yuan laughed and said. You were the one who insisted on sending yourself to the door. The principal and I both said that his value would double in 3 days. You were the one who didn't believe us. Who can you blame? Since you're willing to bet, you must accept your loss. You'll be leading the team to the extreme experience this time. Thank you, Brother Wolf. When you come back, I will treat you to the freshest sashimi. Isn't that enough? Enough. You're too much. Tang Yiping smiled bitterly. He had lost the bet. Who asked him to be unlucky? Conger Eel, are you interested in this kid as well? Dongfang Fan looked at Yi Shui and said indifferently, You said that among the men you have seen, no one can do something that you find unbelievable, so you don't want to find a boyfriend. What about this one? Did I do something you can't believe? Dongfang Fan's joke made Yi Shui blush. She glared at Dongfang Fan and said, Don't make fun of me. I don't have the habit of eating young grass. Even Gu Magpie couldn't help but laugh. You guys like to make fun of Conger Eel. She's already 29 this year. You guys are all older brothers. You should worry about her. Principal. They're not reliable. Why are you fooling around with them? Yi Shui smiled bitterly and said, Let me tell you, if anyone makes fun of me again, I'll curse him to choke to death on his food at night. Women only have a few years of youth. You've already wasted it. If you don't grab hold of the little tail of youth, you'll really be old in the future. Tang Yiping also joined in the mocking. It's a pity that your brothers don't have the charm for you to appreciate. Otherwise, you would have been taken in long ago. Now that there's a little fresh meat with so much potential, you should be tempted, right? Tempted your sister. Yi Shui snorted and glared at Tang Yiping. You damn wolf, be careful not to choke on your food at night. Tang Yiping wasn't afraid of the curse. He continued to laugh and said, Yes, yes. If you touch my sister, you'll be my sister. You. Yi Shui glared. All right, stop fooling around. If you continue, she might really fall out with you, Gu Magpie said. Outsiders have given our Yi Shui the title of Conger Eel. Think about it. How powerful is she in their eyes? You still dare to provoke her. Principal, they bully me every day. You have an unshirkable responsibility. It's all your fault for indulging them. Yi Shui said angrily. If anyone makes fun of me again, just give them the sole of your shoe. Let's see who dares to bully me again. Yes, yes. I'll listen to you. Gu Magpie didn't have any children. He had always treated Yi Shui as his daughter. Although Yi Shui had a fiery temper sometimes, she was normal most of the time. Tang Yiping still didn't know what was good for him, and went forward. Principal, I know you love Conger Eel and treat her like your own daughter. We've always treated her like our own sister. Don't you have the same thoughts as us? You should get a live-in son-in-law, right? Ha ha ha. Lone wolf. I'll kill you. Yi Shui jumped up. Tang Yiping got up and ran away. I still have things to do. I'll leave first. Gu Magpie smiled. Live-in son-in-law. Haha. He didn't have the ability to get such a live-in son-in-law. This kid's limit isn't just limited. During this period of time, I believe that he must have been forced into a corner by those despicable bandits at sea. Principal, I don't deny that this kid is very powerful. But the bigger the commotion he makes, the more dangerous it is for him. Dongfang Fan said. Shouldn't we do something as well? Gu Magpie nodded. Yes, we should. Dongfang Fan nodded. He knew what to do. Principal, it's hard for us to find the Shadow Clan member they're looking for. Yi Yuan had been secretly helping Su Yin with this problem for the past few days. It's too difficult. It's really too difficult. Yi Yuan didn't understand one thing. Why was Gu Magpie more enthusiastic about Su Yun's matter than him? It was just that he didn't say it out loud. But today he couldn't help but say, Principal, this is actually my personal matter. Now I've caused trouble for you and everyone else. I'm embarrassed. Principal likes talented people, Yi Shui said. It's not like you don't know. What's there to be embarrassed about? I just think it's quite troublesome for Principal. Yi Yuan said. Gu Magpie took a deep breath. There are some things I didn't want to say, but I don't want you to feel pressured today. I want to help him because I owe him a favor from the Su family. It's that simple. Everyone looked at Gu Magpie in confusion. How could he owe Su Yun? If you know who this kid's father is, you won't be surprised by his actions. Gu Magpie smiled. His father is called Su Chun. Su Chun, this legendary man. Everyone's mouth fell open. Dongfang fans' eyes almost popped out. This kid was actually the son of that legendary man. No wonder he was so bold. Like father, like son. No wonder you admire him so much. Yishui also shook her head in amazement. This kid has such a big background. I really didn't expect it. I know you're going to tell me again that talking is an art. Zhui Ming, let's put it this way. This brat will catch up to the value of my head in 3 days. What do you think I can do to help him? Maybe in 3 days, his head will be worth more than yours. Then, do you think we should help him or make trouble for him? Indeed, that was a head worth 60 million. And Lin Ge, who was beside Su Yun, was worth 40 million. The combined value of these two people was over 100 million. Since they were already like this, why would they need help from others? Sigh, Lone Wolf. Aren't you a little envious? His value has soared in such a short period of time. Aren't you feeling unbalanced? Yuan said. I asked you to help, so just help. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Tang Yiping said proudly. His little follower's value is about to surpass yours. Ha ha ha. I think you're the one feeling unbalanced. Alright, you two stop teasing each other. Yishui glared at Tang Yipeng. Is there any meaning to this random bounty? We haven't even met him yet. No one can say for sure how strong he is. Is he just lucky? Or is his strength far superior to ours? These are all things that we can't be sure of. I think Zhui Ming's words make sense. We can give him some help. Of course, that's under the premise that he needs it. If he doesn't need it, we don't need to intervene in this matter. Yes. That's right. That's what I mean. Dongfang Fan said. Principle, you mean the same, right? Uh-huh. The ancient magpie world seemed to be focused on the flowers and plants. They didn't care about how they dealt with this problem. Yes, he was already old. There were some things that he shouldn't ask too much about. Otherwise, when he really couldn't do anything about it, who would they go to then? Learning to deal with things by himself was something he had to do sooner or later. Especially for Dongfang Fan. The ancient magpie world had high expectations, so he didn't want him to disappoint him. Principle's meaning is very clear. Dongfang Fan said. You just have to listen to me in the future. Put aside whatever you're doing for the time being, and be on standby at any time. Understood. Tang Yiping nodded. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Yishui nodded. Contact me if there's anything. After they left, Yuan said. I've been sending people to keep an eye on their movements. I think they're all experienced people. Their proficiency in dealing with trouble is no less than ours. So you're saying, even if we don't do anything, they'll be fine? Dongfang Fan was startled. Yes. Yuan nodded. We just need to observe in secret. That's right. The ancient magpie world watered the flowers. My main idea is to let them deal with it themselves. However, the people of the sea are sinister. Whether it's the White Whale Society or the sharks, they're not to be trifled with. After a pause, the ancient magpie world continued. Although Bath's forces are constantly growing and seem to have the strength to contend with the two major societies, in reality, that's not the case. If you're smart enough, I'm sure you've already seen it. The two of them stared at the ancient magpie world, hoping to hear more advice. Bath's strength is great, but he may not be as strong as the lieutenants of the two major societies, the ancient magpie world said. Take note, I'm talking about ability, not strength. Sometimes strength doesn't represent a person's ability. That's why Su Yun was able to take down the base pirates so easily. Perhaps it wasn't as difficult as we thought. Perhaps if the two of you were forced into a corner like Su Yun, you might be able to wipe out the enemy's fleet with just the two of you. The two of them didn't speak. They were both thinking about the meaning behind the ancient magpie world's words. If they only encounter people like Bath, there's no need for you to intervene. The ancient magpie world said. But if it's Chiu Hung, I think you should intervene. Chiu Hung has a very high EQ and is very persuasive. It's not that I don't believe in Su Yun and Lin Ji's self-control, but I'm worried about Chiu Hung's high EQ. After a pause, the ancient magpie world pointed at his heart. People who know how to attack people's hearts are the most terrifying opponents. It just so happens that this region of the sea has such opponents who know how to attack people's hearts. This is the problem you need to worry about the most. Headmaster, we understand. Dongfang Fan nodded. I didn't say it before because I thought it would only add to Ishui's worries. The ancient magpie world said. And Lone Wolf will think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. It's better not to let them hear it, and just let the two of you know. Zhui Ming, I can rest assured with you around. Yes, Headmaster, I will not disappoint you, Dongfang Fan said seriously. The ancient magpie world shook his head and said nothing more. Chapter 1622. Su Yun and Lin Ge felt like their heads were about to explode when they saw their latest bounties. They didn't feel any joy. This thing couldn't be eaten as a meal. For people who spent years in this place, this bounty seemed to be related to their face. It was very important. But for Su Yun and Lin Ge, it was nothing. It was just a piece of trouble. Moreover, the higher the price on the wanted poster, the more trouble they would be in. They didn't come here to help the Pacific Ocean Police or Headmaster Gu of the Hunter School eliminate thieves. They came here to find people and find a place. They didn't have the time to waste here. Therefore, this was definitely not a good thing for Su Yun. If he had known that the consequences of getting rid of Bath would be so big, he definitely wouldn't have played like this. It wouldn't be good for him at all. Yes, the residents of this sea area who had been bullied by Bath had the respect, reverence, and admiration for Su Yun and Lin Ge. They couldn't wait to bow to Su Yun to express their gratitude to Su Yun. However, this gratitude couldn't be eaten as a meal. It could only make people smile in relief. What would happen next, what would happen, and what should happen would happen. Moreover, the continuous schemes and traps made Su Yun a little angry. When the forest was big, there were all kinds of birds. When the sea was big, there were all kinds of fish. There would always be a few reckless people who tried to pull down Su Yun and Lin Ge. The two heads added up to a bounty of $100 million. Who wouldn't be tempted by this value? Many people had the mentality of stop after doing one job, and directly targeted them. This also made Su Yun tired of dealing with these matters in the next few days. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. This life really lived up to the saying. The king of hell is easy to see, but the little devils are hard to deal with. During these days, Chiu Hung of the Beluga gang and Naka of the Sharks gang didn't make any movements. It was as if everything had nothing to do with them. As for the messy small forces, they recklessly charged forward, resulting in countless casualties. Su Yun, who was tired of dealing with these messy matters, really didn't have the energy to draw a map of the sea area in his heart. Su Yun was not a navigator, and drawing a nautical chart was very taxing, but in order to find the damn Matty Franz Island, Su Yun could only bite the bullet and figure out how to study this thing. Therefore, these continuous troubles gave Su Yun a headache. There was no end to the harassment, so how could he stay calm and do things well? It was at this moment that Chiu Hung of the Beluga clan finally made his move. However, his actions were different from the others. The others were here to cause trouble for Su Yun. However, he made an unusual reaction. He didn't come here to harass Su Yun, but to help her instead. This was something that no one could understand. This was the first time Su Yun and the Beluga clan had met, and this meeting really made Su Yun feel that the Beluga clan was different from others. And this was precisely what the ancient magpie world was worried about. If they didn't use force to resist, but used other methods instead, this kind of person was the most terrifying. Facing a wave of pirate gangs who used sparrow warfare tactics, Su Yun and Lin Ge were indeed a little tired of dealing with them. It was endless, and no one could stand this kind of thing. The reason why the other party did this was precisely because Su Yun and the others were few in number. There were only two of them, and if this harassment continued for a long time, they would definitely be tired out. When fatigue completely overwhelmed them, it would be a sign of defeat. Therefore, this group of people harassed them in twos and threes, and didn't stop during the day or night. This really pissed off Suyin a little. In order to completely solve this problem, Suyin and Lin Ge found an uninhabited island, landed on it, and waited. If one came, they would deal with one, and if two came, they would cripple a pair. They wanted to see how daring these people were, and whether they dared to continue like this. For 4 consecutive days, the other party showed no signs of stopping. These troublesome brats gave Suyin and the others a headache. Lin Ge went from being passionate at the beginning to not having any temper at all. It was all thanks to these brats that kept harassing him. On the 4th day, Lin Ge felt as if he came to the Pacific Ocean to deal with these brats. "Brother, if this doesn't stop, what should we do?" Lin Ge smiled bitterly. "I didn't expect the customs of this place to be so tough. There's no end to it. Yeah, even if we can deal with this wave of people sooner or later, there will be a second wave and a third wave." Suyin also didn't think of a way to solve this problem. Treating the symptoms doesn't solve the root cause. We can't always spend our days dealing with these problems. Lin Ge had a headache. There are only 2 of us. If there were more people, this wouldn't be a problem at all. Who said otherwise? If there were a group of people, these people wouldn't use the sparrow tactic endlessly. But now, where could Suyin find a group of people to help? All he could do now was endure and endure. If he couldn't endure it, it would be tantamount to failure. After Suyin and Lin Ge prepared themselves to endure it, there was suddenly no one who came to disturb them that night. Even so, they still didn't have a good rest. They didn't dare to sleep. Who knew what kind of trouble would come once they fell asleep? Just like that, the night passed. When they woke up the next day, Suyin and Lin Ge were even more tired than they were a few days ago. This logic was very simple. Don't be afraid of thieves stealing, be afraid of thieves thinking about you. There was a joke. One day, in the middle of the night, a person fell asleep in bed. Suddenly, he heard someone throw a shoe heavily on the roof, waking him up from his sleep. Thus, he quietly waited for the second shoe to land on the ground before going to sleep. Unexpectedly, after waiting for a long time, the sound of the second shoe didn't come for a long time. That person couldn't sleep no matter what. Thus, he angrily ran upstairs to question his neighbor. "Why didn't you throw the second shoe?" Right now, Suyin and Lin Ji's state was somewhat like 2 people waiting for the second shoe to land. For the past few days, they had been causing trouble for them nonstop. Today, there was suddenly no movement. They weren't used to it. Obviously, these pirates weren't the neighbors upstairs. There must be a reason why they didn't come to disturb them. Suyin and Lin Ge also urgently wanted an answer to this matter. What they didn't expect was that the answer would be delivered early in the morning. When the flag of the Baijing clan fluttered in the distant sea, Suyin and Lin Ge both realized the problem. Very soon Qiu Heng, the famous overlord of this region of the sea, appeared on this uninhabited island. The arrival of the White Whale Regiment seemed to have calmed the sea within a radius of 12 nautical miles. There was no noise, nor were there any disturbances from small fries. Without needing the other party to say anything, Suyin understood why no one came to disturb them last night. From the looks of it, the peaceful night was a gift from the captain of the Baijing clan, Qiu Heng. How thoughtful of him. "Mr. Suyin, how do you do?" Mo Tai was the first to step forward and express his friendliness to Suyin and Lin Ge. "We've taken the liberty to disturb you. I wonder if we've disturbed the 2 of you?" Suyin smiled slightly. As the saying went, one doesn't hit a smiling face. Seeing the other party's friendly attitude, he could only treat them in the same way. "Of course not. You're very welcome. It's just that I wonder why you're here. Let's introduce you first." As Mo Tai spoke, he led Qiu Heng forward. "This is Captain Qiu Heng of our Baijing clan. He admires you very much, Mr. Suyin. That's why we took the liberty to pay you a visit." Suyin accepted the visit calmly. "Captain Qiu Heng, no matter what, I'd like to thank you for the gift. I've already accepted the gift, but I don't have anything in return. I wonder if Captain Qiu Heng would mind." Qiu Heng finally spoke. He didn't expect Suyin's first words to be thank you. "Mr. Suyin, I wonder where you're coming from? I didn't bring any gift." "Hee, you're mocking me, aren't you?" Chapter 1623. Su Yun smiled and didn't say anything. Qiu Heng's scheming was much better than those people from before. He just casually dealt with those small fries in the ocean. He often did this kind of thing. It was normal for conflicts to occur in the Pacific Ocean. However, Qiu Heng's choice of time and place to make a move, as well as who he was in front of, was very successful. At the very least, Su Yun's attitude towards him was much better than his attitude towards the others. Su Yun already had some feelings of sympathy towards Qiu Heng, who was also Chinese. Now it seemed that he had more or less a good impression of Qiu Heng. Although Qiu Heng's move wasn't a timely help, it was an exaggeration to say that he had at least solved Su Yun and Lin Ji's urgent problem. For an outsider, or even an opponent, Qiu Heng's actions had undoubtedly let Su Yun and Lin Ge let down their guard. Captain Qiu, we just met and you've already dealt with all the trouble around me. Isn't this a great gift? Su Yun finally spoke. We Chinese are particular about reciprocity. If we don't follow such a simple rule, it would be a disgrace to our ancestors. A gentleman is a man of virtue. Being filial to one's younger brother is the foundation of benevolence. Filial piety, loyalty, propriety, justice, integrity, and shame. If you don't pay attention to this, how can you call yourself a Huaxia citizen? Good filial piety, loyalty, propriety, justice, integrity, and shame. Qiu Heng gave a thumbs up. He was very impressed with Su Yun's education. Mr. Su Yun's words are really better than 10 years of studying for a wandering Huaxia citizen like me. Although I'm Chinese, I really don't know what the 8 virtues of life are. Today, I finally understood. Filial piety, loyalty, propriety, justice, integrity, and shame. Good. Well said. Huaxia is a country of etiquette. Naturally, Chinese people pay attention to the 8 virtues of life. Since Su Yun wanted to be polite and return the favor, Qiu Heng naturally didn't mind doing Su Yun a favor. This wasn't a bad thing for him. Instead, it was his biggest advantage in becoming friends with Su Yun. Currently, there was probably no one in this sea region who was closer to Su Yun than him. Captain Qiu gave me such a big gift, but I really don't have anything to return, Su Yun said lightly. So Captain Qiu is making things difficult for me. Mr. Su Yun, please don't feel troubled. If that's the case, then it would be my fault. Qiu Heng said. Let me put it this way. Even if these people don't harass you, if I encounter them, I will still make sure they don't have a good ending. People of the same trade are enemies. I already have a conflict of interest with them, so fighting and killing is normal. Therefore, this can't be considered a meeting gift for Mr. Su Yun. It's just that I conveniently cleared my obstacles and unintentionally helped Mr. Su. Su Yun nodded. All right, with Captain Qiu's words, I'm relieved. Since you cleared away your obstacles, then you don't have to worry about filial piety, loyalty, propriety, justice, integrity, and honor. There's no need to return the favor, right? Of course there's no need for that, Qiu Heng said. If that's the case, does Mr. Su feel much better? Much better? That's a lot better, Su Yun said. In that case, I'll have to bother you, Captain Qiu. Pigeon, let's go. Since Captain Qiu wants to come to this island, we'll make room for him. Take it as a return gift for Captain Qiu. We'll be even then. Qiu Heng was stunned. Su Yun was beating around the bush, and in the end, he came to the conclusion that he didn't owe him anything. If that was the case, then everything Qiu Heng did just now was in vain. What a good Su Yun. He set up a simple trap and Qiu Heng walked right into it. Qiu Heng fell for Su Yun's trap because he desperately wanted to build a good relationship with Su Yun. Otherwise, he wouldn't have fallen for it so easily. At this time, Qiu Heng didn't turn against Qiu Heng. Instead, his expression and smile made him admire Su Yun even more. He was brave and smart. If he could have such a person by his side, he wouldn't have to worry about not being able to become a hegemon. Mr. Su Yun, our captain came all the way here to find you. Don't you think it's a little rude to leave just like that? Emotai quietly stepped forward and blocked Su Yun's path. It's better to be clear about some things. Su Yun smiled and glanced at Emotai. Then he turned back to look at Qiu Heng. Qiu Heng didn't say anything. Although Emotai's sudden action was a little rash, his recklessness allowed him to do things that were inconvenient for him to do. Simply put, Cheo-hung couldn't possibly fall out with Soo-yin in front of him. Because he wanted to recruit him, once they fell out, the distance between them wouldn't be something that could be bridged with just a few words. Similarly, Soo-yin couldn't fall out with Cheo-hung. He and Lin-gu were both physically and mentally exhausted. If they were to clash with the White Whale clan now, even if they could make the White Whale clan suffer, the two of them wouldn't be spared either. Many things had to be considered from multiple angles. Hence, Soo-yin and Cheo-hung were in the same situation. It wasn't convenient for them to talk too much. Fortunately, Lin-gu wasn't a pushover either. When he saw Emotai step forward to stop them, he stepped forward without hesitation since Soo-yin wasn't in a position to speak up. Haven't we made things clear? You're just doing what you're supposed to do and solving some of our problems. We're also doing what we're supposed to do and making space for you. Isn't this considered reciprocity? Sorry, I'm talking to Mr. Soo-yin. Emotai didn't seem to care about Lin Ji's words. Although Lin Ji's value had also doubled in their eyes, it was all because he was following Soo-yin. What's with the fight? I'm talking to Captain Xiao. Lin-gu didn't hold back either. He didn't expect this guy to be so arrogant and look down on him. F***ck, what the F***ck? I'm the one who looks down on you. The two of them were at each other's throats. Neither of them was willing to back down. After all, Emotai felt that this was his home ground. Hence, he definitely couldn't lose to Lin-gu. You don't seem to be qualified to talk to our captain. Do you think you're qualified to talk to my brother? Look at yourself before you speak. Lin-gu retorted without hesitation. While the two of them were having a simple conversation, the smell of gunpowder at the scene became even more intense. Neither of them was willing to back down, causing the atmosphere to become tense. Even Soo-yin and Cheo-hung didn't feel as relaxed and happy as they did at the beginning. At a time like this, it seemed that there was only one way to solve the problem. Whoever had the harder fist would be in the dominant position. However, once this line of fire was ignited, it would become uncontrollable. Cheo-hung knew very well what the result would be. What was the difference between what he did and what others did? If that was the case, so what if he could kill Soo-yin? At most, he would have to sacrifice the lives of some of his brothers. Not only would he not be able to increase his own strength, but it would also be equivalent to causing a lose-lose situation. The one who would benefit in the end wouldn't be him. Cheo-hung wouldn't do such a stupid thing. This wasn't something a smart person like him would do. Doing things this way was the behavior of a boorish person. History had proven that no boorish person could achieve great things in the end. A boorish person would always be a boorish person. Cheo-hung definitely wouldn't tolerate being a boorish person who couldn't achieve anything. He looked down on that kind of person. Chapter 1624. Emotai, it's time for you to learn more about Huaxia's culture. Cheo-hung smiled. As the saying goes, isn't it a joy to have friends from afar? As the host, I'm greatly disappointed by what you said just now in front of two guests. Emotai was stunned. Emotai was stunned. No matter what Cheo-hung's words meant, he would listen obediently and bear with it. Everything he had done just now was for Cheo-hung's sake. Now that he was asked to apologize for Cheo-hung's sake, he lowered his head to Soo-yin and Lin-gu without any complaints or hesitation. I'm sorry, Mr. Soo-yin, Mr. Lin-gu. I was too agitated just now. I hope the two of you won't take it to heart. I'm willing to apologize and ask for your forgiveness. Please forgive me. Tsk. That's pretty good. Lin-gu clicked his tongue. Bring a bramble and ask for forgiveness? Sure, that's very sincere. I didn't know that it was popular to bring a bramble and ask for forgiveness in the Pacific Ocean. You don't have brambles here, right? What are you going to use instead? It's popular to use belts to replace brambles in our area. Is it the same here? The aggressive Lin-gu did not make Emotai back down. Emotai pulled out the belt on his pants without any hesitation, raised it with both hands, and placed it directly in front of Lin-gu. Lin-gu was really stunned. He originally thought that Emotai was just expressing his sincerity. It was impossible for him to really bring a bramble and ask for forgiveness. He really didn't have to go that far. He didn't expect Emotai to be true to his words and really offer the belt on his waist to him with both hands. This time, it was Lin Ji's turn to be at a loss for words. Was he really going to give Emotai a few slaps with his belt? That was more or less too much. But if he did nothing, he would be throwing his own face. Fortunately, Suyin stood up in time to help Lin Gu out of this situation. He took the belt from Emotai's hands. It looks pretty good. What kind of leather is it made of? It looks like it's made by hand. Did you make it yourself? With this interruption, Emotai didn't know what to do. He could only go along with Suyun's words and say, "Yes, I made this using the toughest piece of skin from a giant lizard I caught. It's all handmade." "I like this kind of thing," Suyun said and handed the belt to Lin Gu. "Help me put it away. Don't break it." Lin Gu was bewildered by Suyun. Did he just take his belt away? We've been talking about reciprocity for a long time. I asked for a belt from you. So of course I have to return the favor. Suyun thought for a while, then took off a moisture-proof diving watch from his wrist and handed it to Emotai. This watch was prepared by Yuan. Although it wasn't cheap, it wasn't ridiculously expensive. If he exchanged it for a handmade belt made of pure lizard skin, the price would be about the same. Emotai looked at the watch that Suyun handed over, and didn't know whether he should accept it or not. He could only look at Chiu Hung with an inquiring gaze. "Don't look at your captain. This is a private matter between you and me," Suyun said. "I didn't ask for this belt from him. I asked for it from you. If you don't accept this watch, I might really get angry." Although that was what he said, Suyun really did ask for the belt from Emotai. However, Emotai still had to ask Chiu Hung. After seeing Chiu Hung nod silently, Emotai took the watch that Suyun handed to him. Just now, the matter of bringing a bramble and asking for punishment had instantly turned into a gift exchange. Lin Ji's awkwardness had also disappeared. "Mr. Suyun." Chiu Hung knew that if he didn't make his intentions clear, Suyun would really leave. "Since you don't like to beat around the bush, I'll make my intentions clear. Is Captain Chiu not just passing by? Or is it a coincidence that you came to this island to rest for a while?" Suyun smiled. "No matter what Captain Chiu's intentions are, I'm afraid it has nothing to do with me." "No." Chiu Hung didn't give Suyun a chance to evade. "I'm here to see you," Suyun replied. "Oh, Captain Chiu is the famous leader of the Beluga whale clan, and I'm just a passerby in the Pacific Ocean. We don't seem to have any connections, and it's impossible for us to have any. Why is Captain Chiu looking for me?" "Mr. Suyun, you and I are both smart people. I don't think I need to answer your question." Chiu Hung smiled. "We all know the answer." Suyun's expression was full of admiration. This Chiu Hung was very careful with his words. "I admire your ability," Chiu Hung said bluntly. "I hope you can consider not continuing to be a passerby in the Pacific Ocean, but becoming the master of the Pacific Ocean." "Ha ha ha ha." Suyun laughed loudly. "Captain Chiu, I'm not that ambitious. The Pacific Ocean belongs to the whole world. No one can be its master." Chiu Hung was silent for a while. "Yes, there wasn't in the past, but that doesn't mean there won't be in the future. Mr. Suyun, please allow me to say something that you might mind. I've been sending people to investigate you for the past few days. I know that you're here to look for someone, and at the same time, to look for an island. I'm right? Suyun was stunned. This Chiu Hung was really meticulous. Before coming into contact with him, he had already sent people to investigate him in secret. He was preparing to win every battle by knowing his enemy. "According to my speculation, the mahogany order in your hand shouldn't have been given to you by Headmaster Gu of the Hunter Academy," Chiu Hung said. "As for why you have it, I don't know, nor can I guess. But I'm sure that the trouble this thing brings you far outweighs the convenience it brings you. This point, whether you admit it or not, is undeniable." Suyun laughed bitterly in his heart. Chiu Hung's words made sense. Yes, the mahogany order did bring him a lot of convenience, but at the same time, it also brought him a lot of trouble. If it weren't for the mahogany order, perhaps he wouldn't have to stand here and haggle with the captain of the Beluga whale clan. "That's right," Suyun admitted generously. "But there's one thing. The convenience this token brings me is the convenience I need. Even if it brings me trouble, I still need the convenience it brings me." Chiu-hung smiled. Yes, you do need these conveniences. But have you ever thought that even if you don't have the mahogany order, you can use other methods to obtain these conveniences and get rid of so much trouble? Su-yun and Lin-gu couldn't help but be startled. Perhaps there really was such a method, but they hadn't considered it from the start. I understand what Captain Chiu means, but I already have a choice, Su-yun said. I appreciate Captain Chiu's kindness. Even if there is already a choice, so what? Chiu-hung could tell that Su-yun was moved, so he struck while the iron was hot. This is just a multiple-choice question in life. As long as life isn't over, the answer can be changed at any time. Since you've made the wrong choice, why keep making the same mistake? Perhaps you'll get a different result if you change your answer. Su-yun couldn't help but be impressed. Chiu-hung's eloquence was amazing, and his psychology was also on point. He could easily hit the weakest spot in a person's heart. It was really difficult to deal with such a person. No need. Since I've chosen an answer, it means that this answer is the right one for me. Su-yun declined tactfully. Since I think it's the right one, there's no need to change it. Chiu-hung smiled slightly. Could this be considered a match? Su-yun was really someone who wasn't easy to convince. Chiu-hung knew this very well. It seemed that he still needed to increase his bargaining chip to truly move Su-yun. Chapter 1625. Although I don't know what your relationship with Principal Gu is, and I don't know what other help Principal Gu has given you apart from this mahogany medallion. Chiu-hung didn't give up. Chiu-hung was still not ready to give up. But I believe that I can give you the help that he can't. Give me a chance to prove it to you. This request isn't too much, is it? Of course not. This isn't Captain Chiu's request. You think highly of me, Su-yun, and I, Su-yun, failed to appreciate your kindness. Su-yun, I have nothing to do with Principal Gu. The only help he can give me is this mahogany medallion and this ship. Principal Gu thinks highly of me, and I don't deserve it. At this time, Su-yun had already understood that Yuan's actions were definitely not just because of Bufifan, but also because of something else. Therefore, he was certain that Yuan was willing to help him so much because of Principal Gu's intentions. This made Su-yun feel a little guilty. His words were definitely not against his heart, nor were they out of politeness. Chiu-hung said, "This is what Principal Gu can give you. This is his kindness. It's true that I can't give you the mahogany medallion. It's the best pass in this sea region. Any citizen who sees this medallion will treat you with the utmost respect and treat you with the best hospitality they can give you. I can't compare to Principal Gu in this regard. Captain Chiu, none of you have the obligation to help me," Su-yun said. "Although this is the first time I've met you, there's one thing I'm sure of. You're also a man of character. You're a particular person. Compared to the other pirate leaders I've met, you're far above them. I don't mind saying this from the bottom of my heart. I, Su-yun, won't stay in this place, so you really don't have to waste your time on me. I know your intentions, Captain Chiu. If you're really the right person for me, then let me go." "Mr. Su-yun, you've misunderstood. I won't stop anyone or force anyone. In the Baijing clan, everyone stays willingly," Chiu-hung said. Chiu-hung said, "You can ask Emotai. Even if I chase him away now, he won't leave. He stayed because he loves this place." Su-yun nodded. "I believe you. But I'm not fit to stay here." Chiu-hung did not continue arguing with Su-yun about this topic. "Let's not talk about this for now. I'm a person who likes to befriend heroes from all over the world. I think you're a hero, so I want to befriend you. We're just friends. I won't force you to do anything for me. I just want to help you." Su-yun and Lin-gu were a little surprised. Chiu-hung's words were out of their expectations. Logically speaking, he should have a request, and a very firm one at that. He definitely wouldn't be so easy to talk to. "So Captain Chiu means that you won't stop me if I want to leave now?" Su-yun asked in disbelief. Chiu-hung nodded. Of course not. Emotai stopped you earlier because he didn't understand what I was thinking. I'm just here to tell you that if you're willing to be friends with me, I can give you help that Principal Gu can't." After pausing for a moment, while Su-yun and Lin-gu were pondering the meaning of this sentence, Chiu-hung continued speaking. Principal Gu can give you a mahogany token and prepare a cruise ship for you, Chiu Hung said. But he can't put down everything in his hands to help you find the person you're looking for, and help you find the island you're looking for. But I can. I can do anything for my brother. As long as you trust me and are willing to be friends with me, I can arrange for all my men to help you find the person you're looking for, and help you find the place you're looking for. After saying that, Chiu Hung gestured for him to leave. Mr. Su Yun, I've already been very straightforward with my words. I believe you've already felt my sincerity. If you don't like my status, then go ahead and pretend that I've never been here. In the future, I can't guarantee that no one will provoke you in these waters, but I can guarantee that my men and the pirate groups that I can control won't dare to harass you. This boldness, this aura, it was really sufficient. Captain Chiu, what I'm doing is meaningless to you, Su Yun said. It can only be considered that I, Su Yun, am lucky to have a benefactor in my life. I, Chiu Hung, am satisfied that you, Su Yun, regard me as a benefactor in your life, Chiu Hung said. After saying that, Chiu Hung stopped persuading and inviting him. Mr. Su Yun, please go ahead and pretend that nothing happened. I don't want my appearance to disturb your voyage. Su Yun cupped his fists and thanked Chiu Hung. Then he strode away and steered the ship away with Lin Ge. Watching the small yacht leave, Emotai was really confused. Captain, you're letting them go just like that? If he doesn't want to join us and you don't want to make things difficult for him, then there's no need to make those promises to him. We don't owe each other anything. There's no need to help him. There's no need, Chiu Hung said calmly. Then, do you really feel that you appreciate each other? Emotai said, Captain, if that's what you think, then I can only say that you're too loyal. Chiu Hung sighed. I'm loyal, but I won't be loyal to someone who doesn't want to give me face. I don't know Su Yun well enough, and Su Yun doesn't know me well enough. I believe that time will allow us to slowly understand each other. I won't force him to stay. I mean what I say, just like how you were willing to stay by my side back then. I didn't force anyone to stay. A forced melon is not sweet, and a forced person is not loyal. I'm very clear about this. But you can't let him go so easily, right? Emotai said. Hua Xia had a famous novel called The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. In it, there was a person called Ma Su who was highly regarded by the Shu Prime Minister, Zhuge Liang. Of course, in the end, it was the person who gave the order to kill him. Chiu Hung said, this person once proposed a strategy. It's better to attack the heart than to attack the city. Fighting the heart is better than fighting the army. Sometimes it's important to attack the heart. Emotai seemed to understand something. So you're saying that you want to use a psychological strategy on Su Yun? You can say that. Chiu Hung still used the Three Kingdoms analogy. Zhuge Liang used Ma Su's psychological strategy to capture Meng Hua 7 times. He captured a person 7 times and let him go. In the end, he convinced him and willingly stayed by his side to assist him. Although I will not capture Su Yun, but if I help him again and again, then perhaps he will be like Meng Hua during the Three Kingdoms period, and willingly stay by my side, Zhuge Liang. Captain, you're thinking too much, Emotai said in admiration. Chiu Hung smiled. This isn't what I think. This is the crystallization of the wisdom of Hua Xia's ancestors. I'm just using it. You should learn more about the principle of loosening the reins only to grasp them better. Perhaps you'll be able to add more fierce generals to our Baijing clan in the future. I'll follow your teachings, Captain. Emotai nodded. Chiu Hung took one last look at the yacht that was about to disappear from sight. He said calmly, continue to keep an eye on them. Don't let anything happen to them. He would help them settle all their troubles. Then, think of a way to let them know that it's not that they're free of trouble, but that it's because of the Baijing clan that they're free of trouble. Yes. Emotai understood Chiu Hung's intention. Also, find out more about the person they're looking for. Chiu Hung said, bring back anyone who fits any of the characteristics of the person they're looking for. Don't let them know that you're secretly helping them find the person. Understood, Captain. Emotai said seriously. Chapter 1626. Lin Ge couldn't understand Chiu Hung's actions at all. He had even prepared himself for a fierce battle, because he could sense that Chiu Heng's group was much stronger than those they had encountered before. But Chiu Heng didn't make a move. Instead, he acted like a gentleman. Bro, not only did that guy not touch us, he even promised to help us. Why do I feel like there's something fishy going on here? Lin Ge felt uneasy. No matter what, they're still pirates. Encountering people like us who don't abide by their rules, they wouldn't help us even if they didn't teach us a lesson. This guy is different from the others, Su Yin said calmly. He's telling us that he can let us go at any time, but he can also find us at any time. That's another demonstration of his strength. The scariest thing about him is that we can't understand why he's doing this. His last words made it impossible for you to be rude to him, Lin Ge said helplessly. He's so sincere that even I was infected by him. I almost wanted to call him brother. This guy's charisma really isn't for show. Su Yin smiled. Indeed, Chiu Heng's charisma was very strong. Although Chiu Heng addressed him as Mr., it made him feel like he was treating him like a brother. But if he didn't even have this ability, he probably wouldn't be able to lead the White Whale Regiment, nor would he be able to establish the White Whale Regiment in the Pacific Ocean. As a leader, charisma was one of the most basic things, especially his confidence. He said that the brothers who stayed by his side were willing to do so. That sentence seemed plain, but it showed his confidence in his position as a leader. It was an unintentional demonstration of his strength. This kind of confidence was absolutely indescribable. Just based on this point, Su Yin also believed that in this sea area, there was probably no one who could be compared to him. Even the Sharks gang was no match for him. If Su Yin had to choose between the two leaders, he believed that the one who could unify the ocean would be the White Whale Regiment, and not the Sharks gang. Although he let us go, he might come back a second time. Su Yin smiled and said, Lu Guan and Zhang have all been rejected 3 times. Maybe he has the same tenacity. If he keeps being so polite, I really can't stand it. Lin Ge said, Brother, there's a saying that one shouldn't slap a smiling face. They're already the stronger party, yet they're still smiling at us. There's really no way to deal with them. Who said otherwise? If it was really the kind of situation where they shed all pretense of cordiality, Su Yin and Lin Ge would grit their teeth and really fight it out. At worst, they would just jump into the sea and escape after suffering a crushing defeat. However, with Chiu Heng's humble attitude, what reason did they have to fall out with him? There was no reason at all. Forget it, don't think too much about it. We still have a lot of things to deal with. We don't have time to worry about this. Su Yin. Let's take it one step at a time. As long as we can find Phantom as soon as possible, this matter will be considered over. We'll just leave this place and not participate in the disputes here. Every place had its own balance. Su Yin didn't want to disturb the balance of the sea. The food chain couldn't be destroyed. The big fish eating the small fish was a rule set by God. If Su Yin destroyed the balance of power in this place, no one could predict what would happen in the end. It might even cause trouble for Principal Gu. Su Yin already felt guilty that he couldn't help Principal Gu. If he caused trouble for him, it would be even worse. Ever since Chiu Heng's visit, Su Yin and Lin Ge really stopped for a long time. The next few days were so peaceful that it made them wonder if they were in the wrong place. There was no harassment from pirates at all. Everything went smoothly, and they were always greeted with smiles. Compared to the hellish feeling a few days ago, the two felt like they were in heaven in an instant. Of course, the two soon understood why no one dared to provoke them. Those who dared to provoke them were all dealt with by the Beluga Whale clan. To Su Yin, he was in no hurry to judge whether this was good news or bad news. After one incident after another, Su Yin knew that he owed Chiu Heng more and more favors. Even if Chiu Heng was willing, Su Yin still felt embarrassed because of his principles. Principles were things that couldn't be changed easily. There was a saying that one shouldn't accept a reward for nothing. Su Yin felt awkward because of this saying. He was a person who didn't accept rewards for nothing. This was his principle. But now he had been receiving rewards without a single merit. Therefore, he couldn't tolerate this situation. The more time passed, the more uncomfortable Su Yin felt. The more time passed, the more uncomfortable Su Yin felt. Before Chiu Heng came looking for him, he already had the thought of looking for Chiu Heng for a chat. Of course, it was just a thought. It wouldn't become a reality. Su-yin couldn't wait to avoid Chiu-hung. Chiu-hung was just too scheming. Lin Ji's psychological pressure wasn't as bad as Su-yun's. He didn't like the feeling of receiving rewards for nothing. But Lin Ge didn't mind having someone to clean up for them for free. After Chiu-hung cleaned up those small fries, he and Su-yin felt much more relaxed. In such a stressful ocean world, it wasn't easy to have such leisure time. Therefore, even though Lin Ge felt pressured, he didn't reject Chiu-hung. Chiu-hung was doing this willingly. It had nothing to do with him. It wasn't like he was the one who forced him to help. Even though there were no more messy disturbances, Su-yin and the others still didn't make much progress in their search. Indeed, if they wanted to find Phantom, it would be difficult to find any useful clues just by asking around. Of course, Phantom had to show herself. In a place like this, she needed the most basic of human body supplements. At the very least, she needed to eat and buy supplies. As long as they did that, she would show herself. But based on Phantom's appearance and figure, Su-yin and Lin Ge still couldn't find anything. This was the biggest blow they had suffered in the past few days. Every time they asked, described, and inquired, Chiu-hung's spies would record it bit by bit. Therefore, Chiu-hung already knew most of Phantom's general situation. There were many members of the Baijing clan. Almost all of them were sent out by Chiu-hung to look for this person. In Chiu-hung's opinion, this person was very important to Su-yin. If he could help Su-yin find this person, Su-yin wouldn't be able to refuse such a huge favor. If he could persuade this woman Su-yin was looking for to join them and stay in the sea, the chances of Su-yin staying to help him would be even higher. After deciding on the target, Chiu-hung struck hard. He didn't believe that with so many members of the Baijing clan, he wouldn't be able to find a single living person in the sea where he had roamed freely for so many years. In the next few days, his subordinates brought the suspects to Chiu-hung's front. Even if they only had one similarity to Su-yun's description, they would be respectfully invited to Chiu-hung by the Baijing clan. Chiu-hung would interrogate them one by one. Those who were completely clueless would be sent back. As for those who seemed to be pretending not to know Su-yin, he would politely ask them to stay. Just like that, a week passed. Su-yin and Lin Ge had completely gotten used to life without the fleas harassing them. During this time, Chiu-hung had also found 12 women who might be the ones Su-yin was looking for. Finally, Chiu-hung felt that the time was ripe to meet Su-yin for the second time. He brought the 12 women he found to Su-yin. Chapter 1627. Just as Su-yin had guessed, Chiu-hung would come looking for him again. Obviously, Chiu-hung came with an even bigger entourage this time. Not only did he have a large entourage of followers, but the gift he brought for Su-yin was even more shocking. Every woman that Su-yin was looking for was treated with the highest level of treatment by Chiu-hung. He took good care of Su-yin in every possible way. However, after Chiu-hung explained the purpose of his visit, Su-yin only smiled and shook his head after meeting the 12 women. Chiu-hung was quite disappointed with this result. He never thought that after doing so much, nothing would change in the end. It was just looking for a woman. He had spent so much time and effort, but in the end, it was all for naught. Captain Chiu, no matter what, I have to thank you. Su-yin was still very grateful for Chiu-hung's efforts. Although he did not get the result he wanted, and his expectations were completely dashed, Chiu-hung's actions still touched Su-yin deeply. It made him feel grateful from the bottom of his heart. Chiu-hung was not excited at all. I didn't do anything, so there's nothing to thank me for. Since that's the case, I won't bother you anymore. Captain Chiu, I think you're on par with someone. Lin Ge spoke up when Chiu-hung was about to leave with his men. You're a very loyal person. If you say you want to help, you'll definitely help. I know a captain just like you. Everyone calls him Dad. Ha ha ha. You're not comparing me to white-haired Dad, are you? I really can't accept that. Chiu-hung was stunned, but his laughter came from the bottom of his heart. Every industry had a benchmark. In the pirate circle, white-haired Dad was the most representative figure. For example, in the LOL League, the mid laner was represented by Rise and Bright Moon. The top laner was represented by Rambo and Crocodile. The top laner was represented by Blind Monk and Centaur. The ADC was represented by policewoman and Virus, and the support was represented by Hammerstone. When a person could become a representative figure, it meant that he was recognized by the majority. The white-haired old man was recognized as the most representative figure in the pirate circle because of his status and the era he ruled. It was hard to say about the ancient and modern times, but in the modern pirate circle, the white-haired old man was recognized as the most representative pirate of this era. Even Chiu Hung felt a little ashamed to be compared to his white-haired father. "Captain Chiu, we don't have anything to thank you for," Su Yun said. "We don't deserve all the help you've given us. Mr. Su Yun, I've said it before. I appreciate you. If I can't help you when you need me, I'll be tortured in my heart. Everything I did was of my own volition." Chiu Hung said, "Don't feel embarrassed, hee. Besides, I've done so much, but I haven't really helped you much. None of the people I've found are right. I've already been embarrassed enough." As these words were exchanged, the atmosphere between them began to ease. All the wariness in their hearts had been erased. Chiu Hung knew that although he hadn't found the right person, he had found the right way. Between Chiu Hung and Su Yun, a friendship had indeed formed. Even if Su Yun didn't admit it, it was an indisputable fact. He couldn't make an enemy of Chiu Hung. In this way, Chiu Hung had at least achieved half of his goal. In the entire Pacific Ocean, when all the pirate groups were making enemies of Su Yun, Chiu Hung and Su Yun had established an unfathomable friendship. This was Chiu Hung's method and ability. The gap between people was often formed inadvertently. Why was Chiu Hung able to make the Baijing clan big and strong? It was because he had a different way of doing things. Su Yun could roughly guess why Chiu Hung did this. But even if he approached him with a motive, Su Yun still felt grateful that he had done so much for him. When dealing with people who knew how to repay kindness, Chiu Hung played the favor card. After his investigation, he confirmed that Su Yun was a person who valued friendship. That was why he had done so much for him. If Su Yun was someone who didn't know the ways of the world and didn't take friendship seriously, Chiu Hung wouldn't have done this. "Captain Chiu, actually, in these waters, with your strength, no one can touch you." Su Yun. "As far as I know, the one Principal Gu hates the most isn't you, but the shark gang. What's the reason?" Chiu Hung laughed when he heard this. "It's simple. I only want money. I don't like to kill. Naka, on the other hand, is different. He kills for money. He'll do whatever he wants to do. That's why Principal Gu hates him to the core. As for me, I'm not a good person either. It's just that I don't do things that go too far. I don't know how to explain it, but if Mr. Su Yun is interested, I can take you to do some things. You'll understand why Principal Gu turns a blind eye to me most of the time." Su Yun was stunned. Although he didn't know where Chiu Hung was taking him, he was still very interested. Lin Gu, whose curiosity was piqued, looked at Su Yun expectantly, hoping that Su Yun would agree to Chiu Hung's invitation. In the end, Su Yun nodded. Chiu Hung's understanding of him wasn't shallow, so he decided to learn more about Chiu Hung. He wanted to see what this tyrant of the Pacific Ocean would take him to do. When they boarded Chiu Hung's ship, Su Yun and Lin Gu were surprised that there weren't any luxurious rooms on the ship. Chiu Hung's life wasn't as luxurious as they imagined. He even casually asked his subordinates to move the sofas and chairs to the deck. He drank and chatted with Su Yun and Lin Gu in front of all his brothers. Alcohol was a common drink for pirates. They drifted on the sea all year round, so their bodies were damp and cold. Drinking alcohol was good for the body. Moreover, after drifting on the sea for a long time, the ship couldn't store fresh water for a long time. The fresh water would stink after a long time, and under the sun, it would soon become unpalatable. Therefore, alcohol was the best substitute for water. It was said that pirates liked rum the most. Firstly, it could disinfect wounds. Secondly, it could drive away the cold. Thirdly, it could boost courage, forget sadness, and dispel worries. However, Chiu Hung wasn't like that. Chiu Hung was from Huaxia, so he didn't like to drink rum. He liked to drink Huaxia Baijiu. In his words, Huaxia Baijiu was the real deal. After everyone had sat around the deck, someone had already brought out the wine. The Baijiu wasn't bottled. That kind of wine wasn't enough for everyone. It was brewed in a large vat, which was passed down from Chiu Heng's ancestors. The wine was mellow and fragrant. When the vat was opened, a strong fragrance could be smelled. Good wine. Su Yin only took a sniff and sighed. Sometimes, one didn't need taste buds to taste wine. One could distinguish the taste of the wine by smell. Obviously, Su Yun's sense of smell was no weaker than his taste buds. You know the ropes. After Chiu Heng finished speaking, he picked up a bowl of wine in front of him. His bowl was bigger than the others. Mr. Su Yun, you're my guest on my ship. I'll drink first as a toast. With this bowl of wine, I wish you all the best. A forthright person could hold his liquor well. He drank it all in one gulp without hesitation. Of course, Su Yun couldn't embarrass himself. He raised his bowl, tilted his head back, and drank it all in one gulp. The wine was strong enough. Although it was spicy, it was soft when it entered the throat. Su Yun didn't feel any discomfort after drinking it all in one gulp. Lin Gu and Su Yun raised their wine bowls, and Chiu Heng's subordinates also raised their glasses and toasted Chiu Heng under Motai's signal. Chapter 1628. Everyone drank happily. Seeing that Su Yun could hold his liquor, Chiu Heng did not have to worry about him getting drunk, and continued to get people to pour more wine for him. After 3 rounds of drinks, some people who could not hold their liquor could not drink anymore. However, Su Yun and Chiu Heng still acted as if nothing had happened. Mr. Su Yun, tell me, if you want to know why Principal Gu turned a blind eye to me, then I'll explain it to you. Chiu Heng was a little tipsy now. Rob the rich and help the poor. How do you translate this sentence? Rob the rich to help the poor. Rob the rich to help the poor? Su Yun was stunned. He did not know that Chiu Heng was such a person. If he was robbing the rich to help the poor, then his influence in the sea would be higher than Principal Gu's. He would not be a pirate anymore. He would be a hero thief, right? However, that was not the case. Chiu Heng was still a pirate, and did not have much support from the civilians. I'm not such a person. I can't rob the rich to help the poor, Chiu Heng said. But I've done half of it. I only rob the rich. As for helping the poor, I won't do it. I'm a pirate, not a philanthropist. Even if I'm not a pirate, I won't be a philanthropist. Many people are helping the poor. Maybe the heavens are touched, but I'm not. Su Yun nodded. I understand what you're thinking. There's an old saying in Huaxia. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Yes, I agree with this saying. However, I think there's a second half to it. Chiu Heng said. A long time ago, there was a young man from a fishing village named Chiu. He often stood at the beach in a daze. His life was hopeless and he was always bullied. He did not even know if he had the courage to continue living. This young man from the fishing village had been an orphan since he was young. He was short and didn't look pretty. He also spoke with a thick local accent. Therefore, he had always felt inferior. He had nothing. Just as he was wandering between life and death, his good friends suddenly told him a shocking piece of news. My family said that you are actually the descendant of Qiu Jifa, the sea legend. At that time, the young man from the fishing village surnamed Qiu was shocked. Really? I am actually Qiu Jifa's descendant. His spirits were immediately lifted as he recalled the scene of his ancestor commanding thousands of men and horses to gallop across the ocean with his not-so-tall stature. He used his native accent to issue dignified orders. He suddenly felt that his short body was also filled with power, and his native accent was also somewhat noble and dignified. Just like that, based on the fact that he is Qiu Jifa's descendant, based on his strong desire to become Qiu Jifa, today 30 years later, he actually really galloped on the Pacific Ocean. Although he didn't have the amazing achievements of the legendary Qiu Jifa of the sea, he still made people not dare to underestimate him. As for whether he is Qiu Jifa's descendant or not, no one can prove it. But all of this now has no meaning. Su Yun knew that Chiu Heng was talking about himself. Yes, it was meaningless. Regardless of whether Chiu Heng was Qiu Jifa's descendant or not, he had his own maritime empire. Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. It's not wrong to teach a man to fish. But teaching a man how to fish is not as good as teaching him to desire. Chiu Heng said. Teaching a person how to fish is not as good as giving a person a desire and belief. Chiu Hung was able to achieve what he had today because of that belief. In his heart he only knew that I am Chiu Jifa's descendant, I can definitely do it. The power of this belief was not something that ordinary people could imagine. After a pause, Chiu Hung continued. So I will not help the poor. If I value a person, I will give him belief and desire, and let him fight for it like a man. With belief and desire, he will be able to get everything he wants. People who only rely on charity will not understand the true meaning of life. Then what is the point of living in this world? It is better to die early and reincarnate early, to be a person with aspirations in the next life. Su Yin understood what Chiu Hung meant. He had his own reasons for only robbing the rich and not helping the poor. Indeed, his way of thinking was not unique. Many people had the same way of thinking. Those who needed help could be the old, the weak, the sick and the disabled, but definitely not those who had arms and legs. Captain Chiu, you're really an interesting person. Su Yin smiled faintly. This was somewhat out of his expectations. Then what is your concept of robbing the rich different from others? There are two types of rich people. Chiu Hung said. The first type relies on their own ability, hard work, hard work, hard work. Bit by bit, they accumulate their wealth, multiply it, and improve their quality. This type of rich person deserves everyone's respect. They are worthy of the money they earn, and they deserve to enjoy the money they earn. I will never touch this type of rich person because I respect them from the bottom of my heart. Then who do you want to rob? Chiu Hung smiled. The other type of person. Mr. Su Yun, you should know what kind of person I am talking about, right? Su Yun smiled slightly and did not say anything. There are people in the world who earn money easily, Chiu Hung said. This type of person abuses the power given by the country and uses their own power to make huge profits. I will never go easy on this type of person. Although Su Yun did not support this kind of illegal method, Su Yun still gave Chiu Hung a silent thumbs up in his heart. This type of person also knows how to enjoy life because the wealth they accumulate quickly simply falls from the sky. They don't have to work at all, and they get the wealth they want. That's why they are extravagant, and wasteful. Chiu Hung said. I like to make an example of this type of person. It seemed that corrupt people were not having a good time. The country was fighting tigers, and it was easy for them to be targeted when they traveled. Therefore, those who have power, don't think about how to earn more. Think about how to give more to the people. It's not difficult for me to understand why Principal Gu would turn a blind eye to Captain Chiu. Su Yun said lightly. If it were me, I would do the same. You mean would you do what Principal Gu did, or would you do what I did? Chiu Hung suddenly asked. Su Yun did not hesitate for a moment. I would do both. Good. I will bring you to do what I want to do today. Chiu Hung said. It's not too late to regret now. Rob the rich? Su Yun was stunned. Chiu Hung nodded. The target is Meng Zhizhong. I don't know what his position is, but he has a lot of power. I heard that 15 years ago, he was the secretary of a small county in Huaxia, and he had the nickname Meng 300 million. 15 years ago, how much was 300 million in Huaxia? At that time, an ordinary family's annual income should be around 10,000, right? Hearing this person's nickname, Su Yun was shocked. A person who was greedy for 300 million should die 1,000 times to atone for his sins. How much was the basic salary for government officials announced this year? 2,800 clerks, 3,000 staff members, 3,100 deputy section chiefs, 3,300 section chiefs, 3,600 deputy division chiefs, 4,000 division chiefs, 4,400 deputy department chiefs, 5,000 deputy department chiefs, 5,500 deputy department chiefs, and 6,000 senior officials. Even if a person becomes a senior official at the age of 18 and retires at the age of 68, he will not spend a single cent of his basic salary for 50 years. Only then will he be able to save 3.6 million. In Yanjing, he can barely afford a 5-ring 3-bedroom apartment. Meng 300 million really had a pair of black hands. I am interested to meet this Meng 300 million with you. Su Yun's lips curled into a smile. Chapter 1629. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, China had carried out large-scale socialist construction in a planned manner, and it had become one of the economic powers with the most potential in the world. Now it had already established a relatively complete socialist market economy, and it would only take a few years to establish a relatively mature socialist market economy. These achievements that attracted the attention of the world belonged to every working person in the country. Of course, while everything was progressing positively, there were always some things that were the opposite. The country's economy was rising rapidly, but the economic growth of the people could not catch up. Some were even left far behind. The growth of wages could never be compared to the growth of housing prices. There was once a joke about a conversation between a leader of a reform committee and his assistant. The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't take the car? The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't take the car? The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't take the car? The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't use the car? The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't use the car? The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't use the car? The assistant director of the reform committee. Yes. The assistant director of the reform committee. Then what if they don't use the car? A certain director of the reform committee was getting anxious. Why are you so stupid? Then adjust the electricity price. I'll watch them eat it raw. A certain assistant director of the restructuring committee said. The director is brilliant. But what if some people use firewood to cook? A certain director of the reform committee. If they use coal to cook, we'll adjust the price of coal. If they don't even use coal, then don't blame me for being rude. F***ck, adjust the water price, I'll see if they drink water or not. A certain assistant to the director of the reform committee. What if they don't drink? A certain director of the reform committee. Don't drink? If they don't drink water, they will be dehydrated, right? You have to be sent to the hospital if you're dehydrated? A certain assistant director asked. What do you mean? A certain director of the reform committee. Are you stupid? Do you still need me to teach you? Let's see what else he can do if we increase the medical fees. If he's still so awesome, I'll raise the cremation fee too. I'll make him beg for death. Of course, this was just a joke. It didn't mean that all leaders didn't do anything for the people. It was just that some people like to take advantage of opportunities and neglect their duties. If this type of person was not worthy of the black veil on his head, then the people below him were even more unworthy. Those who used their authority to seek huge profits were even more disgusting. The rich man that Chiu Hung wanted to rob with Su Yun today was a typical example of such a person. This Meng Zizhong was really a bold representative. When he had just gained power, the price of official positions in the city he was in had changed from hidden deals to clearly marked prices. The county party secretary was paid 500,000 yuan. The director of a bureau in the county was paid 200,000 yuan. And even the deputy mayor of a small town dared to ask for 50,000 yuan. His wife was even more ruthless. During those years, she had engaged in real estate development in all the cities that he had worked in. As long as there was an area that she liked, she would demolish it without any explanation. She even set up a shell company and took on almost all the projects that Meng Zizhong could get his hands on. How greedy was this? It was not something that could be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. This guy could be said to be using his authority to obtain wealth without any scruples. His son had already applied for a foreign citizenship and transferred his assets overseas. Now that the crackdown was very severe, he was also very glad that he had pulled out in time and retreated one step earlier. Seeing those people who were similar to him being dealt with one by one, Meng Zizhong had an indescribable feeling in his heart. This time, Meng Zizhong appeared here to hold a birthday party for his son. He directly booked the whole place in a 5-star hotel in Hawaii, and spend a lot of money on it. Although the birthday party was over, his son had bought a cruise ship and wanted to hold a Hawaiian version of the Ocean Festival. So the party was still going on. Meng Zizhong also didn't refuse his son's invitation to the feast. His wife had already died of an illness due to her greed and overwork from attracting too much business. He and his son didn't have anything to worry about. With so many beautiful women accompanying him, a feast was also Meng Zizhong's dream. Meng Zizhong liked this kind of thing very much when he was young. There were rumors that every time he went to inspect a place, the last item on his agenda would be to find a strange girl and get a room in a hotel. But in fact, this was not true. Every time Meng Zizhong went to inspect a place, he would be very ostentatious. Not only would there be police cars to clear the way, but there would also be armed police. It was not convenient for him to go to a hotel and get a room. However, he had his own palace, which was a private hotel. The 4th and 5th floors were his private world. Those who had been there knew that when the elevator came out of the 5th floor, there was a big room with many spacious bathrooms for guests to shower. In addition to the bathrooms, there was a bar, a ballroom, a billiard room, a dance studio, an archery room, and so on. At that time, Meng Zizhong would often bring all kinds of people who were similar to him to take a bath here and do some ridiculous and outrageous things. The fact that he had more than 30 mistresses was also an open secret. Even his wife and son knew about it. But who asked him to be the head of the family to be so capable? No one said anything about him. What's more, his 30+ wasn't much. Compared to Zhang Erjiang, that kind of pervert, he was far from it. How many mistresses did Zhang Erjiang have? 107. F***ck, if he got one more, he could directly film water margin. Meng Zizhong withdrew before Yan Zhangfeng. Since all of his assets had been transferred outside, and the money had basically been washed clean, formal means of investigation were meaningless to him. He was still able to get away with it, which made many people feel uncomfortable. However, the heavens were watching everything that a person did. As long as a person did something that he shouldn't have done, he would never be able to escape the punishment of the heavens. Yes, no one in the country could do anything to Meng Zizhong. But now that he was here, there was someone who could deal with him. If this damned black sheep didn't get the punishment he deserved, then God was too blind. If such a bastard didn't get the retribution he deserved, then God wouldn't tolerate it. It was not that retribution did not come. It would come sooner or later. Perhaps God would not care for everyone who did good deeds, and would not let every good person live a long life. But God would definitely not let any evil person off. After doing something wrong, there would always be ghosts knocking on the door. Meng Zizhong probably would never have thought that he would fall into this trap on the high seas, right? No one could escape retribution. Especially people like Meng Zizhong. A huge cruise ship on the high seas. Such a huge thing wasted a lot of resources every time it went out to sea. It was definitely not something an ordinary person could imagine. Just because a prodigal second generation wanted to hold a Hawaiian version of the Sky Sea Feast, they sent out such a huge cruise ship. One had to know that only a group of prodigal second generation rich people could afford to hold the Sanya event. It was needless to say how extravagant and wasteful it was. Other than people who had money in their pockets for free, who would have the courage to do so? No one would have the courage to do so. Such a willful thing, only the second generation of corrupt officials could do it, right? No normal person would have the courage to do so. Chapter 1630. For such a luxurious cruise ship to appear dozens of nautical miles away from Hawaii, it would easily become a big piece of fat meat in the eyes of the pirates. Such a luxurious cruise ship was considered common in these waters, but generally, no one dared to touch it. The person who had the ability to build such a cruise ship must have terrifying financial resources. How could someone with such financial resources not hire some experts around him? Many pirates had suffered such losses before. When a piece of fat meat was particularly fragrant and sweet, no one dared to touch it, because this kind of fat meat was definitely much more protected than ordinary fat meat. Big gangs like the Beijing clan were not willing to touch such a big piece of fat meat easily. If they encountered a situation where experts were as common as the clouds, even if they could get a considerable amount of money, the sacrifice would also be considerable. That was why no one was willing to touch such a luxurious cruise ship. Xiao Heng's decision to use this luxurious cruise ship this time was also a last-minute decision, because Su Yun promised to go with him. Of course, there was another reason. He had already investigated the target this time. It was a big greed and the kind that had retired. There was an advantage to dealing with such people. They felt that money and life could not be compared. As long as they could save their lives, they really did not care how much money they had. In the eyes of such people, money was dung, not even as fragrant as their farts. Therefore, Xiao Heng preferred to treat such people as targets of robbery. Secondly, this guy was a retired big greed. There was an idiom in Huaxia: when the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. It meant that when the person who relied on the mountain fell, the people who followed him would scatter. This was a very normal phenomenon. Even if this big greed did not admit it, he should be very clear about the contrast after he stepped down. When he was in power and position, his house was as busy as a marketplace, and there was not a single day of idleness. But after he retired in order to protect himself, not to mention the house being as busy as a marketplace, even the drinking parties had changed from being able to cancel more than 10 parties a day to only having one meal every 3 to 5 days, let alone the house being as busy as a marketplace. Moreover, this banquet was no longer a banquet for those in power. It was a group of retired old men. It was unknown whether it was for the sake of chatting or for the sake of consoling one's soul, but in any case, there would always be someone who couldn't help but shout. Everyone would come out to brag about their great achievements back in the day, and try to find the feeling of being a leader. The only difference was that in the past, there were always people who served him tea and flattered him. After he retired, it became his own job to serve tea and water. When he bragged about it, he didn't hold himself as high as before. Without that tall hat on his head, sometimes he really felt like there was a gust of wind, and it was cool. What felt cold was not the top of his head, but his heart. Such a person had already alienated himself from his power. When faced with some difficulties, he would try his best to use the money he had accumulated to solve them. He no longer had that "I have power, so I'm not afraid of anything" attitude. If Xiao Heng wanted to make a move, he would make these people suffer in silence. Under the night sky, the Pacific Ocean was very quiet, but in the distance, the lights were waning, and the noise was playing out a ridiculous cruise ship feast. A father and son actually took a group of young models of various countries out to sea to perform those vulgar shows. It was simply unbelievable. However, such a ridiculous thing was happening on a cruise ship less than a few nautical miles away from Su Yun. Although they were still far away, Su Yun seemed to have heard the laughter on the cruise ship. It seems that the cruise ship is very happy. Lin Ge stood next to Su Yun, holding a pair of binoculars in his hand. This binoculars is not bad. It even has night vision infrared. I can see a lot of long legs from so far away. They're still wearing bikinis in such a strong sea breeze. TSK. It's really not easy for these girls to earn money. It's not easy for them to earn money. They can earn tens of thousands of yuan just by showing their bodies and twisting their bodies. If they serve their masters well, they can earn hundreds of thousands of yuan for just a night of sex. Su Yun shook his head in disdain. Who can earn money more easily than them? They're so young, wasting away their youth. It'll be too late for regrets when they're old. Xiao Heng also joined in the conversation between Su Yun and Lin Ge. Everyone has their own ambitions. Some girls think that their bodies are the greatest assets given to them by God. If they don't use their bodies well while they're still young, it'll be a waste when they're old. These girls are often hurt and think that there's no good man in the world, so they don't care about their bodies. Captain Xiao's words make sense. No one is born to be a degenerate. They're all pulled down by the scum of society. Su Yun. These girls are pitiful, but pitiful people must have something to hate. Haha, no one can say for sure. Xiao Heng nodded. These girls are considered a vulnerable group in my eyes. I won't make things difficult for them. Mr. Su Yun, what do you think of this? Of course, I won't make things difficult for them. They'll regret it sooner or later because of their lack of self-respect. Let them fend for themselves. Su-yin shook his head helplessly. I just want to see what Meng San-yi is like today. Then you'd better be mentally prepared. Chiu-hung laughed. His performance will definitely be beyond your expectations. In the end, he's just a cowardly bastard. Su-yun's eyes turned cold. Suddenly he had a thought. It really didn't matter if he killed a greedy person in international waters. Chiu-hung nodded. Everyone is afraid of death. The richer you are, the more afraid you are of death. While they were talking, Chiu-hung's boat was getting closer and closer to the cruise ship that Meng Zhizhong and his son rented. At this time, the people who were sent out to gather information returned. That cruise ship is defenseless. There are a few bodyguards, but they don't look like powerful people. The rest are all young ladies in their 20s. They're all dressed scantily and coquettishly. I didn't even have the nerve to look at them, so I came back. The spy looked like he didn't want to get close to women. Chiu-hung smiled. Did you see them clearly? Don't let anything happen. If there are too many masters on that cruise ship, I'll make you the first one to be cannon fodder. Captain, don't worry. I'll be the first to board the ship. I'll catch the prettiest girl on the ship and make her your bride. The spy joked. Get lost. Emotai glared at him and said half-jokingly. How many hands do those women have? How can they be brides? Don't you know how to talk? They're not even fit to be the captain's mistress. A bunch of rotten shoes. Yes, yes, yes. A bunch of rotten shoes. A bunch of rotten shoes. The spy laughed as he left. Chiu-hung glanced at Su-yin. Mr. Su-yin, if you like, you can pick a few nights on the cruise ship to enjoy. I believe those girls won't dare to resist. I don't like rotten shoes either. Su-yin smiled and declined politely. Lin-ge didn't wait for Chiu-hung to speak and rejected his good intentions. I have a wife. I won't cheat on her. If you like her, you can keep her for yourself. I don't care if you want to be a groom every night. I'm just going to teach that greedy guy a lesson with my brother. We can't let him get away with it. The two boats got closer bit by bit. Seeing that the cruise ship was less than a nautical mile away, Emotai wanted to order the boats to stop and then send people to surround the cruise ship. However, Chiu-hung changed his strategy. He decided to approach the cruise ship directly and board the cruise ship to catch the other party off guard. Lin-ge rubbed his hands and waited to board the cruise ship. Su-yin also couldn't wait to see how many pairs of hands Meng San-yi had. How could he be so greedy? Chapter 1631. On the luxurious cruise ship, there was singing and dancing. Their slender waists were dazzling. Not to mention men, even women would be mesmerized by these seductresses. Chiu-hung's men were all men, and when they saw this scene, they could not tear their eyes away. It was not easy to see such an erotic scene in a place with so many men. For a moment, these guys who boarded the ship to rob were completely dumbfounded. No one could bear to do it. Even if they were not men who had tender feelings for women, they could not bear to do it in the face of so many girls with long legs and slender waists. Captain, you really put us at a loss for what to do today. I can't even straighten my back. How do you expect me to do it? Someone began to complain. He was not the only one who could not straighten his back. These guys, who were lucky to see a woman once every 10 days or half a month, had unknowingly set up small tents. Chiu-hung shook his head helplessly. These guys were really useless. There are plenty of women in the world. You don't have to be angry just because of these peripheral women, right? That's enough. Stop it. If anyone dares to stand up again, I'll chop them up. Open your eyes and don't be so ignorant. After this, I'll take you to relax. Kita's dancer bar. Each of you will get 2. Is that enough? Yes. Everyone roared in excitement. It seemed that sometimes spiritual promises were more effective than money and material goods in increasing one's motivation. None of them even asked how much money they would get after this. Presumably, Chiu-hung was very good at dealing with these kinds of things, so none of them cared about the share of the loot. They did not care about how much money they would get. What they cared about was what kind of spiritual life Chiu-hung could give them. This was not the most basic and simple problem of food and clothing. Seeing this, Suyin had no choice but to believe what Chiu Hung had said before. The brothers who stayed by his side were willing to go through thick and thin with him. They were all willing to do so. None of these people were in this industry to earn money to support their families. They were mainly in this industry because they wanted to follow Chiu Hung. To be able to do this, it was no wonder that Lin Gu would compare him to his white-haired father. The people around the white-haired old man were all like that. They only followed him for the sake of following him. Money, status, those people were no longer lacking. What they lacked was a yearning and hope, and the captain could give them that. That was why they followed him without hesitation. Suyin admired Chiu Hung even more now. It was only when the Beluga clan's pirate army arrived that the people on the cruise ship realized that something had happened. When Chiu Hang's ship approached them, no one noticed it. Everyone was in the middle of the party. Even the ship staff were busy enjoying themselves. The captain, the first mate, the sailors, and even the violin-playing musicians and the chefs in the kitchen were all invited to the huge deck to participate in the feast. Her long, white legs and slender waist completely blinded everyone on the ship. It wasn't until the Beluga clan's flag appeared before their eyes that they finally realized what was going on. "It's the Beluga clan," someone shouted in panic. In an instant, the entire deck was in chaos. Meng Zhizhong and his son didn't know what the Beluga clan was, but everyone else did. Everyone on the ship knew. As for the dozens of bikini-clad models on the periphery, some knew, some didn't. When they saw someone panicking, they also panicked and tried to escape. But this was a cruise ship. No matter how they ran, they couldn't escape. They were surrounded by the boundless ocean. Where could they run to? Bang! A gunshot rang out. The atmosphere on the scene changed once again. The Beluga clan's reputation was indeed effective. Other than the uncontrollable sound system that was still ringing, all the living were silent. Meng Zhizhong and his son, who was hugging each other, were also dumbfounded. They now knew who they had bumped into. The 4 bodyguards that Meng Zhizhong hired at a high price didn't step forward. In fact, they even retreated after seeing the flag. "My apologies, everyone. I'm Chiu Hung. I was just passing by and saw how beautiful your cruise ship is. The atmosphere is so good, so I couldn't help but come up and ask for a bowl of wine." Chiu Hung smiled. "If my brothers have done anything wrong and disturbed everyone's mood, then I'd like to apologize." The polite opening speech eased the tense atmosphere considerably, but the members of the Beluga Whale Regiment knew that although their captain's words were pleasant to the ears, he wouldn't be careless when it came to action. "Who are you people? Do you know what manners are?" Meng Zhizhong's son Meng Chunsheng wasn't someone to be trifled with. He was used to being domineering since young. How could he tolerate others messing with his place? One must know that when he was playing in the nightclub, if anyone dared to provoke him, he would pick up a wine bottle and smash it on their head. Well, it couldn't be helped. Who asked his father to be so capable? He could even boast that even if he killed someone, his old man would ensure his safety. His father was Li Tan? His father was Li Danjiang? Those second-generation kids couldn't compare to him at all. Meng Chunsheng didn't even need to point at someone's nose and say, "My father is Meng Zhizhong." Usually, if anything happened, someone would secretly point at him and say, "This is Meng Zhizhong's son. You can't afford to offend him." Meng Chunsheng grew up in such an environment. How could he not be arrogant? How could he not be arrogant? His arrogance was a trait that was ingrained in him since birth. His unruly nature flowed in his blood. "Why don't you take a look at where this is? Is this a place where you messy people can come and go as you please?" Scram. Meng Chunsheng had always thought of himself as the heavenly king. Today was no exception. Especially in front of so many ladies, he wanted to show his most domineering side. The Beluga clan members were dumbfounded. This guy was really bold to be so arrogant. Everyone looked at Chiu Hung, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. They wanted to see how the captain was going to teach this guy a lesson. Seeing that the other party still didn't respond to his orders, Meng Chunsheng vented his anger on the 4 bodyguards. "What did I hire you for? I didn't hire you to watch the show for free. Get rid of these messy people for me. Otherwise, get the hell out of here." "Young Master Meng, people of our level don't dare to block the Beluga clan's way. One of the 4 bodyguards spoke up. Take the 50% commission you paid us as our protection. We don't want the remaining 50%. We're not doing this business anymore. You're not doing this business just like that. Where's your professional ethics? Meng Chunxing wanted to continue cursing, but was stopped by his father. After all, Meng Zhizhong had rich experience in society. Based on the reactions of the others, he could roughly guess what kind of big shot the other party's leader was. He wasn't someone they could afford to offend. My friend, it's fate that we met on this vast ocean. We're all Chinese. There's no need for tit for tat. Meng Zhizhong stopped his hot-tempered son. He wanted to use a friendly chat to resolve the conflict that was about to erupt. But Meng Chunxing didn't give his father any face. He spat fiercely. Dad, why are you talking about friends with them? Can't you see? They're a bunch of bandits, shameless scum. Meng Zhizhong almost suffocated himself to death. Was this his child? Why was he so stupid? It was precisely because the other party was a bandit that he had to treat them with caution. Wasn't he just looking for trouble by scolding them? Chapter 1632. Meng Chuanxing's scolding ignited the anger of the Beijing clan. You could call them bandits, that was the truth. But you couldn't call them shameless scum. Compared to a greedy second generation, the brothers of the Beijing clan felt that they had a sense of shame. At the very least, they earned money with their own hands, right? Shut up. Meng Zhizhong glared fiercely at his son. He was really afraid that his son's words would provoke these ferocious-looking pirates. When the time came, even if they didn't kill them, chopping off their arms and legs would be enough for them to suffer. It was his fault for spoiling this disappointing son of his since young. He simply didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Meng Chunxing was still fearless. Dad, why should we be afraid of them? They're pirates. They're just a bunch of mobs. If they dare to touch us, our country has a warship escort. I don't believe they haven't heard of it. When a few warships come over, we'll wipe them out directly. Let's see if they still dare to be arrogant. Aya, this kid knows the ropes. He even knows about warship escorts. Looks like the Somali warship escort is quite famous around the world. Even these unscrupulous people have heard of it, and even used it to scare people. Little kid, warship escorts are meant to protect legitimate commercial ships and protect the interests of citizens who have the right to enjoy such protection. Qiu Heng showed no signs of turning hostile. But what are you doing? Large-scale improper activities of men and women on the high seas? Does this need protection? Is this a normal interest that should be protected? I'm afraid you can't trouble the country. The country has already fattened your father, this big parasite, enough. Your family shouldn't ask for more. That will embarrass the country. Meng Zhizhong was stunned when he heard this. The pirate leader's voiceover seemed to be telling him that they already knew his background. Seeing Meng Zhizhong's confusion, Qiu Heng also spoke frankly. Leader, although I don't know what position you retired from, I heard that you had a nickname many years ago, Meng 300 billion. Since you're here as a guest today, I must use the most cordial way to welcome you. Otherwise, it would be breaking our local rules. Meng Zhizhong was really dumbfounded. They even knew his nickname, Meng 300 billion. This group of people was really too powerful. To be able to do intelligence work to this extent, it was really too exaggerated. One had to know that no one had called him by this nickname for many years. Captain Qiu, since you have your own rules here, then we'll naturally have to do as the Romans do. If you have any rules, just tell us and we'll do as you say. Meng Zhizhong was indeed rich and overbearing. No matter what the rules are, let's not hurt the harmony between us. As the saying goes, harmony breeds wealth. Good. Qiu Heng clapped his hands and said, since the leader is so cooperative, I have nothing else to say. Emotai, tell the leader about our rules here. Everyone, harmony breeds wealth. Ladies, don't be idle. Since you're on this boat, you must have received money from the leader and young master. Perform whatever you're supposed to perform. Don't treat us as outsiders. My subordinates are all very generous. Who knows, maybe they'll reward whoever does the best. Although Qiu Heng said so, none of the women dared to flirt in front of a group of pirates. Even a fool would know that flirting in front of a group of pirates was akin to asking for a round of beatings. If anyone was tired of living, then go ahead and do it. At this moment, Emotai took a step forward. Leader, our rules are very simple. Since our brothers have worked so hard to come to your boat, you should at least give them some appearance fees. Don't let our brothers come here for nothing. As for how you express it to our captain, that will depend on your sincerity. If you're sincere enough, then we'll send you off with a smile. If you're not sincere enough, then don't blame us for turning against you. Meng Zizhong only had one thought now, which was to pay to avoid disaster. As long as it was something that could be solved with money, it was not a problem. He looked around and saw that there were at least 100 pirates surrounding them. To get rid of them, it would probably be a large number, right? Tell me, how much do you want for our brother's hard work? Meng Zizhong's heart was in his throat. 100,000 USD, Emotai said. Although Meng Zizhong felt the pinch, this number was still within his expectations. Hence, he gladly accepted it. Alright, 100,000 USD, I agree. I'll prepare the cash for our brothers immediately. Brothers, take it and distribute it. Thank you for your hard work. To be able to take out 1 million USD just like that, it was definitely not something that an ordinary person could do. Distribute it? Leader, what do you mean by that? Emotai said, the 100,000 USD I'm talking about is based on the number of people. Based on the number of people? Meng Zizhong was stunned. More than 100 people had boarded the ship. How much would that cost? 100,000 USD per person. That would be tens of millions of USD. Are you crazy? Even if you rob a bank, you won't be able to get so much money. You're right. Even the bank doesn't have so much money, but you do. Emotai said, you're taking out 100,000 USD for our brothers to distribute. Are you trying to send us beggars? The corner of Meng Zizhong's mouth twitched. This group of people was determined to rip him off. Your appetite is too big. Meng Chunqing said, no way. Let me tell you, today you won't get a single cent. If you dare to touch us, you can try. Do you know what rank my father used to be? If he wanted to deal with a mob like you, it would be a piece of cake. Qiu Heng grinned and turned to look at Su Yun. Mr. Su Yun, I haven't been back in China for many years, so I don't know much about the country's situation. But you do. Do you think that the country will send troops to suppress us just because of a fallen greedy tycoon? Su Yun looked at Meng Zizhong coldly. As long as it's greed, no matter whether it's big or small, the country will punish it severely. Even if you kill him here today, no one will convict you of any crime. In fact, the people of Huaxia will thank you for getting rid of a scourge for the people. I'm relieved to hear that, Qiu Heng said. Leader, you've heard it. If you can't take out the money, I'll get rid of a scourge for the people. Meng Zizhong gritted his teeth. Alright. 100,000 USD. 100,000 USD per person. But I don't have cash here, so I can only use other methods to pay. Of course, any method of payment is fine, Qiu Heng said. We don't mind. The anger in Su Yun's heart burned even more. This guy was really rich. Tens of millions of USD. And he took it out just like that. He didn't hesitate at all. No wonder he was called Meng 300 billion. This guy's net worth was probably not as simple as 300 million. He was probably worth 3 billion. Meng Zizhong's heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. Even if it was his ill-gotten wealth, he could not bear to throw away such a large sum of money. You've satisfied all of our brother's requests. All that's left is to talk to our captain, Emotai said. Leader, whether you're sincere or not depends on how big of a gift you can give us. The anger in Meng Chuanqing's heart was about to ignite himself. But when he saw that his father was determined to spend money to avoid disaster, he could only suppress his anger. Captain, I've already agreed to your brother's conditions. Is that sincere enough? Meng Zizhong laughed bitterly. What other requests do you have? I really don't dare to say anything. If I say something wrong, I'll... Leader, this gift from my brothers is just a drop in the ocean for you, Qiu Heng said. It didn't hurt your bones, did it? Ha ha ha, if you really don't know how much to show your sincerity, it's okay. I can name my own price. Chapter 1633. As long as he could name his own price, that would be great. Meng Zizhong felt as if a boulder had been lifted off his chest. If he had to name his price, it would be priceless. As long as the other party was willing to name his price, it would be easy to solve the problem. 300 million, Qiu Heng said casually. Since the leader's nickname is Meng 300 million, I'll ask for 300 million for you. That's not too much, right? That's not too much. Is he treating money like paper money? 300 million? Even when Meng Zizhong burned joss paper for his ancestors, he didn't even burn 300 million joss paper at his ancestors' graves. Now a pirate leader was asking him for 300 million? Does he think he's the people's bank? Does he think he can print as much as he wants? However, before Meng Zizhong could say anything, Qiu Heng added, "Leader, I'm talking about US dollars. That's not too much to ask for, right?" Meng Zizhong almost collapsed to the ground. 300 million US dollars. Is this a joke? That's asking for my life. How can you be so greedy? Meng Chunqing couldn't take it anymore. 300 million US dollars? You greedy scum. Today, I'll say this on behalf of my father. I'll give you 50 million US dollars. Take the money and get lost. 50 million US dollars was equivalent to 300 million RMB. It seemed that the title Meng 300 million was not for nothing. He might feel the pinch for 300 million US dollars, but 300 million RMB was nothing to his son. How could he feel the pinch? 50 million is not enough. Qiu Heng gave Emotai a look, and Emotai suddenly made a move and subdued Meng Chunqing. Meng Chunqing's physique was not strong enough, and his body had been hollowed out by wine and women for many years. He had no ability to resist. Let go of me, scoundrel. Although Meng Chunqing was a piece of trash, his mouth was unforgiving as he cursed. Emotai didn't fall for it. He took out a bloody dagger from his boot and stuffed it into Meng Chunqing's mouth. The tip of the dagger was pressed against Meng Chunqing's tongue. The edge of the dagger could tear open the corner of his mouth at any moment. This shut Meng Chunqing up. With the dagger in his mouth, Meng Chunqing became much more well-behaved. He opened his mouth and allowed his saliva to flow down. He didn't dare to make any rebuttal. If the other party were to stab him in the throat, then he would have no place to cry. Meng Zizhong was scared when he saw this scene. The other party was a pirate who killed without blinking an eye. He was the only child. He couldn't let others cripple him. If he was crippled, his Meng family would have no successor. At his age, it would be impossible for him to have another one. An old man married a beautiful young wife. Not long after, the young wife got pregnant. The old man was overjoyed. His neighbor couldn't stand it and told the old man a story. A hunter forgot to bring his bullets and went hunting. When he saw a black bear, he opened fire and the bear fell dead. He asked the old man why. The old man replied, "Someone else must have fired the gun." Others didn't know the meaning of this story, but Meng Zizhong knew. At his age, he was a shotgun without bullets. Even if he shot the prey, there must be someone else who helped him in the dark. Therefore, he had to protect his only child. No matter how much money he had, he couldn't lose his son's life. Although Meng Zizhong couldn't be sure if his son had an illegitimate child, he didn't have a proper daughter-in-law or grandson yet. Captain, don't make our brothers agitated. Harmony breeds wealth. Harmony breeds wealth. It's my fault for not educating my son well. I hope everyone can be magnanimous and not be calculative with him. Meng Zizhong was really scared. That sharp dagger reflected a silver light, which made him frightened and flustered. Qiu Heng's gentleness was only on the surface. "Leader, I don't have the final say in this. My brothers have their own personalities. You didn't offend me. You offended my brothers. It's useless to talk to me. How much do you think your son is worth? You can talk to my brothers about it." Meng Zizhong's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He had already asked for 300 million US dollars, and he still wanted him to redeem his son? Were these people going to exploit him until he didn't even have his underwear left? This Ned cruise ship banquet made Meng Zizhong furious. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have let his son do such a ridiculous thing. Even if he could leave this place alive, he would be back to square one. How could he continue living like this? Especially his son, who was addicted to luxury. He couldn't survive without money. Leader, your son is trash. He's really worthless. Emotai laughed. Just give me whatever you want. I'll just do you a favor. Don't you think so? Yes, yes, yes. Meng Zizhong nodded. Brother, please give my son a way out. I apologize on his behalf for offending you. Just tell me how much you want. Didn't I say that your son is worthless? Just give me whatever you want. Emotai said. Don't tell me you don't understand such simple words. Meng Zizhong swallowed his saliva and asked tentatively. 1 million USD? 1 million USD? Emotai said in surprise. Captain, you really have the heart of a parent. Even if Crow's father looked at Crow, he wouldn't think that his child was black. I said that his son is worthless. I'll let him go if you give me a little. I can even give you 1 million USD. Ha ha ha, I've made a killing this time. Chiu Hung grinned. How much did you think his son was worth? His son? Worthless bullsh *t. Emotai said. I'll let him go even if he gives me a dollar coin. Then Emotai pulled out the dagger that was stuffed into Meng Chuanxing's mouth and kicked him away. Meng Chuanxing scrambled to Meng Zizhong's side. His face was filled with anger and disappointment. Dad, I'm your son. Am I only worth 1 million in your eyes? You're still thinking about this at a time like this? Meng Zizhong was angry and anxious. Chiu Hung clapped his hands and asked someone to bring the laptop over. He personally went forward and opened the laptop in front of Meng Zizhong. Leader, you have so much money. I believe you're very familiar with the Swiss bank's online bank transfer system, right? 24 hours. As long as the information you submit is detailed enough and verified by the computer's fingerprint recognition system, no matter how much money you have, you can transfer it out. This laptop was custom-made. Any super big customer of a Swiss bank would be familiar with this type of computer. This was a professional computer for the rich who wanted to deposit or transfer hundreds of millions of yuan. It was convenient for the customer to use the money at any time. Why did so many rich people deposit their money in Swiss banks? It was because of this comprehensive service. There was no such thing as if you have more than XX yuan, you have to apply 24 hours in advance. Meng Zizhong was stunned. These people were really well prepared. If you say that your money isn't in the Swiss bank, then... Before Meng Zizhong could finish his sentence, Emotai took out the dagger in his hand again. The cold gleam of the dagger made Meng Zizhong shudder. Suyin watched this scene unfold. He really wanted to see how this greedy person could easily take out hundreds of millions of dollars. How much of this was earned by the taxpayers? Damn Meng, 300 million. Meng Zizhong had no choice but to sit in front of the laptop. He was so familiar with the Swiss bank's online login system, but his mind was blank. He couldn't even remember the account number. At this time, no one would not panic. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.